Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depending on wherever it is you're joining us from across the world, it is with great excitement and joy in our hearts that will make you welcome warmly to day 2, session 1 of the Career Acceleration Summit 2024. It's been a phenomenal experience. I must say, for me personally, I have my notes full. I have taken away so much. There's been so much to learn. I've connected with a lot of people, both within Nigeria and outside the shores of this country in the course of this event. And I'm so proud and delighted to make you warmly welcome to day 2, session 1. I'm not doing this alone today. I have with me the beautiful Akinwunmi Adamaleko. She wasn't live with us on set yesterday, but come on, we're happy to have you with us on set today. How are you feeling today?
Thank you. I am elated. I am stoked. I am happy. I was online yesterday and it felt like I was a student. Like, it was so much to soak in.
You can say that again.
Trust me, I'm going to go back to those videos, watch them again, read the books that were suggested, go online to there was something Lala mentioned that how to do things. There's a website to learn how stuff works.
Yes,
exactly.
He said he reads from there every day.
So imagine having to know how stuff works every day,
every single day.
That's 365 days of learning.
Wow, fantastic,
amazing.
Fantastic. Amazing.
Welcome everybody.
Welcome everyone. Let's drum in support. Let's hit the chat room. Let's know where you're joining us from. Let's know how you're feeling today and tell us how your Career Acceleration Summit experience has been. We're streaming live on YouTube, and we're also streaming on Facebook and on Instagram as well. Please make sure you share this link with everyone you know and you love. Talking about yesterday's sessions, Atinike, what would you say stood out for you? We had 6 sessions yesterday, 6 sessions, 3 in the morning. We had a panel discussion after the first session in the morning, and we had 3 amazing speakers as well in the evening. The first session, we started with Mr. Damola Richard Salvador. He spoke about personal branding, how to craft a unique brand for yourself in a crowded market. He said something very profound that would never leave me. He said yesterday that marketing is what you tell people about yourself, but branding is what people believe or perceive about you when you are not in the room. He said marketing is telling people why they should choose you, but branding is informing them why exactly amongst the crowd you should be the one that they should select. So we moved on secondly to the second session was also power-packed. I remember very well yesterday how it was for us in the live stream here. We had a fantastic experience. We had Ms. Khadija Fashino also join us on the call yesterday. In the evening session, we had our CEO, Katsin Consult and convener, Career Acceleration Summit, Ms. Afolake Agubia. They opened the floor. She spoke about communication. That was closely followed by Mr. Oluseyi Lala, who spoke to us about work ethics for career acceleration. And we ended yesterday's session with the amazing Dr. Ideyin Shaibu, who spoke to us about strategic relationships and the role they play. I have a lot to take away from this experience. Atinike, I don't know about you if you'd like to just share one or two things.
One of the sessions that stood out for me was Damola session. So he said something. He said when he introduces himself, he says his name is Salvador. I'm like, actually, when you're not seeing the person, there's a perception that name gives.
True.
So I was like, okay, how do I now introduce myself to virtual community where they don't see me? Because of course, when you see me, you're attracted to my smile. Come on now. So imagine they're not seeing me. So what am I selling? So I had to go back to look at all the things that I needed to put out there to say, okay, Tinuke, you're not physically there. What can they say about you when they see a document from you? Oh, this is excellent. Who made this? This is coming from the social person in Nigeria. Who made this? So that personal branding was top notch for me. And of course, our Mrs. Tommy, there were things she said about the market.
Lifelong learning for a changing job market. I remember that very well.
she was able to differentiate what a job meant and what a career meant.
Absolutely. That was profound.
You're either just doing a job because you want to make money, or you're having a career where you're going from one. And a perfect example is Mrs. Khadijat. Did you see her profile? I'm like, how can one person do all of
these things can be amazing.
Like, and she has the world ahead of her. She has time ahead of her to achieve more of those things. I'm like, Tunke, you are my girl. You're just
there's so much more to do. Talking about Mrs. Fashion's session yesterday, I love the fact that it was an authentic session. I love the fact that she told her story and I could connect with those stories. I love the fact that she was vulnerable with information. She told us, where all of the amazing things she's done in her lives, how she's done a lot of things, how she's transitioned from one career path to another, and the lessons and the learnings that she picked. And I think Mr. Lala said that yesterday. He said, hello, everyone. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from across the world. My name is Israel Olumayowa Ojuade, and with me in the studio is and we're excited to make you warmly welcome to day 2 of the Career Acceleration Summit 2024. How has this summit been for you? It's been life-changing. It's been phenomenal. It's been out of this world. I have had so much of learning and reflections in the last 2 days. And I cannot but just say thank you to the convener of the Career Acceleration Summit and the dedicated team at Catson Consult for putting this summit together for such a time as this. Thank you so much, everyone joining us. If Ilechuku Jennifer, I see you. Thank you so much for joining us from the beautiful city of Abuja. You're currently a serving corps member, you said, and we're so happy to have you join us this morning. Can I ask that you please share this broadcast with your friends and family members? Let them know that we're live and we're doing a phenomenal job with this conference. Atinike, over to you. What would you like to say? How was your first day experience at the Career Acceleration Summit?
So my first day experience was something that I felt like I'd never had before. There were perspectives that I didn't see. There were things. So I'm going to mention Mr. Salvador's session. Okay. Imagine just saying the name Salvador, you're already thinking you're speaking to a white man, like it's a demure thing kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, Atinike, what are you going to sell as your personal brand when you're not physically there?
Sure.
So because physically, come on, don't you like my smell?
I love your
smell.
That's
the first thing you will see about me, right? So it got me thinking how to sell my personal brand virtually. And also we moved to Ms.
Tomi lifelong learning for a changing job market. That was the topic. How did that go for you?
I liked that she was able to separate between having a job and having a career.
Beautiful.
So you should know that when you're having a job, it's just one thing. Yes. The fulfillment that comes with it is not as much as when you have a career plan. True. Or you are having a career acceleration, exponential growth. True. And which brings me to Mrs. Kajija's session. Woo!
That was hot.
I wish to touch the hem of her garment because like, imagine all the things that she has experienced and has gone through and has ventured into because of her life, because of her passion
and her courage.
I
found that she was very vulnerable. She was authentic. She showed us how making mistakes is also a part of the journey.
Yes.
That it's also okay to make mistakes, and those pitfalls will certainly make you better as you grow in your journey. Yes. And that was a packed session for session 1, day 1, yesterday morning. We ended with a panel session that was moderated by myself and the convener of the Career Acceleration Summit. And talking about the evening session, wow, Mrs. Agumbiade blew the roof off yesterday with a session speaking about communication, the art of small talk. She spoke about the elevator pitch, how it is important for you to sell yourself wherever you are.
Yes.
So if you're on this call and you're yet to introduce yourself, please can you do that? Let us know who you are and where you're joining us from across the world. So yesterday was packed. The first session was by Mr. Kubiade. It was beautiful. The second session was by Mr. Olusheyilala. He taught us how to pronounce his name, and he told us how, his surname, always stands him out wherever he gets to. Whenever he gets to, and he tells them his name is Lala. They're like, okay, what does that mean? Where are you from? What part of the world? And that just strikes up the conversation. And then that, yesterday's session, we ended with Dr. Idein Shaibo, who spoke to us about how important relationships are and how important it is for us to build strategic networks. Yeah. So we're excited about today's sessions as well. And we encourage you to please share this link. Don't be, how am I going to say it now? Don't chop alone.
Don't hoard the good news.
Exactly. Don't hoard this information to yourself. Be generous with it. Yes. Share it with your world. Share it with your community. Everyone you love. Everyone you want to grow with. Yeah. We watched a story about the evolution of the Career Acceleration Summit. Yes. I saw Mr. Agubi there. I didn't even know what her dress size was in that video. I saw Elizabeth. I saw Elizabeth as well. I saw Mona in that video. And I can see that in the lives of everyone that I mentioned, I've seen consistent growth. Yes. So it's important that we grow together. What exactly are your career aspirations? In 365 days, in 60 days, in 30 days, in 1 month, because all of those aspirations are going to come to pass. So write them down and share this information with everyone you want to go with. Richard, I see you. Thank you so much for joining us from the beautiful city of Port Harcourt. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining. Speedy Blaze, we see you as well. I believe you're joining from the beautiful city of Abuja. Thank you for joining us. Stella, we see you as well. Let's get more numbers in the room and let's have a beautiful time. Atinuke, you want to run us through the flow of events for today? What should we expect?
Today, it's going to be different. Woo. Trust me. What we had yesterday was, pecs. When you have a lollipop and you're wrapping the nylon out, you've not started. That's what happened yesterday. Today, we are going to be taking the real lollipop.
Let's go.
All right. So our first speaker is going to be Mrs. Tega Omogor. She's going to speak on emotional intelligence. And right now, that's what we need in our workplace today. This is the cornerstone of career acceleration. We want to know that we're emotionally intelligent. Yes. We can read the room. When we enter a room, there's a demure conversation that you have and all of that. So, and our next speaker would be Mr. Ibrahim Baguda. He's going to be speaking on understanding workplace culture and politics. In different sectors, there are different ways they do their thing. Yes. So you want to know where to play your cards and how to play it right.
Absolutely.
So thriving amidst diversity. We are going global.
Yes.
In short, we are global already.
Because
I was speaking to people around the world.
Absolutely.
So we want to ensure that we know what the culture is and of course the politics to play.
Thank you. And finally, for this morning session, we'll be having Mr. Akinwunmi Akinola, who will be speaking to us about adapting to change, the future of work and career evolution. I can't wait for all of these sessions. Please share this link. I can see the numbers are growing already. Yewande Israel Ojuade, I see you from the beautiful city of Abuja. Thank you so much for joining this call. Thank you once again. Ayalba Esther, I see you, and I must commend you for your engaging conversations in the chat room. She's someone who, stood herself out with a lot of comments, a lot of positive comments and remarks in the room yesterday. So we see you. Thank you so much for joining. Shadrach Solomon, we see you joining from the beautiful city of Abuja as well. Thank you so much for joining. Let's get the numbers up. We'd like to say a very big thank you to our sponsors. Thank you so much. This would not have been possible without you. Thank you for giving generously to the cause of the Career Acceleration Summit. A whole lot of professionals are getting value. A lot more people are getting direction for their life and their career journey because you gave. And we say a very big thank you to you. Gift, we see you as well for joining from the beautiful city of Enugu.
Esther is joining from the USA.
Wow,
she's supposed to be sleeping.
Yes. Wow.
Amazing,
Esther. We see you. We see a round of applause from all of us in the studio. Thank you so much once again. All of our sponsors, we say thank you once again. We thank Studio 24, our media partners, for being in the studio with us. All the way from day one up until today. This would not have been possible without you. Thank you so much, Studio 24. And if you're yet to register, there are so many perks and incentives and discounts that our sponsors have graciously given to all our registrants. So if you are yet to register, I'm imploring you to please do so. The media team will drop the link in the room for you. You don't want to miss out on this. The one coming from Studio 24 is even so important for your career image and your personal branding. We get into interview rooms and we see people who we cannot match their digital footprints with the role that they're applying for. So Studio 24 is helping you today to put up that professional brand image that will be consistent with that role that you're pitching for. So we say a very big thank you to Studio 24. We have a lot of our partners as well. We have Tierra Singh, our engineering partner. We say a very, very big thank you. Perfect Trust Cosmetics. We say a very, very big thank you. That's one of the biggest cosmetics and beauty and wellness brands in Nigeria. We say a very, very big thank you to you. We'll acknowledge a whole lot more of our sponsors and partners as we proceed with today's event. Thank you once again, Samuel Babalola. We see you. Thank God, Cyril, we see you. Dr. Ide Shaibu, thank you once again for your beautiful session yesterday. We learned so much and we took a lot of learnings away from your session. Iowa Esther said it's 4:15 a.m. my time.
Wow.
And I'm happy to be up to be listening to this life-changing summit. Thank you, Cats and Consults. We appreciate you. And so much more from us. We're sending you the love sign and we're blowing you kisses from here. Thank you so much, Iowa Esther, for your kind words and for being involved and for being consistent in your engagement for this conference. Thank God, Amadi, we see you as well joining from the beautiful city of Abuja. We have our first speaker for this morning's session already backstage. We'll return to acknowledge a whole lot more of our guests as we proceed in the event as well as our partners. We will be bringing up stage very shortly Coach Tega Omogor. I'm very, very excited about our session because she'll be speaking to us this morning about emotional intelligence, the cornerstone of career acceleration. If you've ever had the opportunity of listening to Coach T, I assure you that she's someone you can listen to all day and you won't get bored. She gives value for time and she is very authentic and real in our methods and in our engagement. I'm sure you're going to have a beautiful time. Can we roll up Coach Tega's profile so that Atinuke can please read for us as we hand over to Coach Tega for the next 40 minutes to take us through our session on emotional intelligence, and then we'll be right back in your faces. Over to you.
Thank you. Coach Tega Omogor is a visionary who is extremely passionate about the next generation and has a burning passion for behavioral change. She is an author, an NLP practitioner, a positive psychology practitioner, an anger management and emotional intelligence certified coach, a substance abuse counselor, an introversionist, a mental health practitioner, and teens mentor, who uses her past experiences to help mold every youth she comes in contact with so they don't toe the path that she did. Tega is the project coordinator for Back to Light Foundation, which is aimed at helping drug use victims go from active addiction to sobriety.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a loud ovation and a resounding encomium, I encourage you to please show Coach Tega some love. Let her know that we love her. Give her all of the positive vibe and energy that she needs in the room. Make it rain in the chat. Welcome. Good to see you.
Hi, it's always a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to see you and see you both. I'm happy to be here. I love the way you actually give your full names. Israel Otumuyiwa Otuade. It gives me it's such
a personal brand.
Exactly.
See you again, Atinike. Good to see you. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Okay,
Thank you. Over to you.
Can you see my slides, please? Okay, fantastic. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the role of emotional intelligence in career acceleration and leadership success. Emotional intelligence being the cornerstone of career acceleration. And we all know, well, most of us, or many of us know what emotional intelligence is. But the objectives for this today is that we're going to be able to enhance our self-awareness, develop self-regulation skills, strengthen social awareness, build relationship management skills, boost your leadership abilities, improving adaptability and flexibility, building resilience to handle career setbacks, and enhance decision-making skills. So, what is emotional intelligence? I'm not going to dwell too much on that because for many of us, it's overflogged already. We know the definition. It is the ability to understand, manage, and influence your emotions and the emotions of others. And most importantly, use this, your learning, use this, your ability of being able to understand, manage, and influence to make better decisions. Because it's not enough to understand, it's not enough to manage, it's not enough to influence, but you must use it to make better decisions in the workplace. One place where people think that it's, I mean, you can just do as you like is the workplace. However, we don't realize that we spend a lot of time in the workplace. We spend 8 hours in a day in the workplace. And out of these 24 hours, 8 hours is spent in the workday. We have 16 other hours. Out of these 16 other hours, we are sleeping for probably 8. The remaining 8, we're using it to prepare for the workplace, or we're using it to recover from the workplace. So if you ask me, I believe that we spend more time in the workplace, especially if you're in the adulthood stage. So emotional intelligence is very important, and it has an amazing impact on our career growth. It has amazing impact on our career growth. It enables us to communicate effectively, build strong relationships, and adapt to change, which are critical skills for career advancement. It helps in handling workplace challenges and setting clear goals and staying motivated. The thing about staying motivated is most times many of us are looking for external motivation, but the motivation must be intrinsic. It must come from within you. We never feel like doing anything, but you need to do it to feel like doing it. You might think you wake up today and be like, no, I'm just not going to be in a good mood. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm going to, back at anyone that comes at you because of what you're going through. What is going on inside? Like they say, as within, so without. So what is going on inside is very important to control, because if you don't control it, you will see that you're the one backing of every human being. So internal motivation is very, very important. And then it also helps in our leadership success. Any leader that you know that has high IQ can inspire and motivate their teams. They can handle stress and conflict, and they can make better decisions. One day I was having a session with some people, and then I asked the question. I said, who is your best boss? And then so everybody had someone to say, oh, that's my best boss. This boss is like this boss is like that. And then I asked them a question. Why do you like that boss? And I'm asking you that question. Who is your best boss in the office? Because you might not be a boss at the moment, but you're going to become a boss in the near future, especially if you have set clear goals to advance in your career. And then if you're someone who is in a career that doesn't have a growth path, I'd like to ask you what you're doing there, because there's something that Israel said in the beginning. He said, we grow together. Coach Folake and Mona and Elizabeth were all in, when they were talking about the advancement or how far they've come, the growth path, exactly. So they were talking about that. They saw how far they have come. If they hadn't gone that far, they would not have made the mistakes they made to be better people today. So if you are in a job that doesn't have a growth path, I really am asking you again, why are you there? Because there is nothing to look forward to. There is nothing to aspire to. So you need to have a plan. If you are there and it's not working, I think you should actually just shift and go and find somewhere where there is a growth path, because that will help you. So if you are if you're not a boss yet, and you know you'll be a boss someday, what are the things that you like in the boss that you like now? Your best boss you've ever had. What are those qualities? Put them in your notebook. The reason I'm asking you this is, why do you like that boss? Why is that boss your best boss? Most times, and I've asked this in many emotional intelligence classes that I've been in the workplace, when you ask them, the first thing they tell you, oh, he was so kind to me. He spoke to me so kindly. One particular lady's response stuck with me till date. She said, this boss was someone who knew she stayed very far away, who knew she was a single mom, but she needed to be the one to open the office every day. And so he would tell her that, know what, everybody has to be at work at 8:30. You don't have to be in a hurry to be here before 8:20. Just do your best and be here before 8:20 so that other people can come in when they come at 8:30 to be ready for the day. And she said that blew her mind, because where she was coming from, they were hammering on her every day, insulting her, harassing her. And guess what happened to this lady? Because this guy extended grace to her, she did not want to disappoint him. She always went out of her way to make sure that she got to the office at 8:20. In fact, she started getting to work at 8 a.m. because she wanted to impress him. She wanted to do her job. She wanted to make, and then guess what? It made her enjoy the job. So the best boss that you have ever had, the boss that you've liked the most, that you've respected, that you've seen that you wanted to do things to help his job, because your job as a junior assistant is actually to make your senior assistant look good or make their work easier. She realized that she wanted to actually help him make his job easier. She didn't want to be the one that was going to drop the ball. She wanted to make sure that if it lies within me, I will make sure that I'm there on time because this guy extended some grace to me. And what did that guy do? He understood what she was going through as a single mother. And he knew that she was coming from a far place. So he just helped her. And hey, he has motivated that lady just by that single act. So if you think about who your best boss is, it's an indicator as to how you will also extend grace to people when you become a boss. So that's why we say that emotional intelligence is important in leadership success. It also plays a key role in influencing others. Look at what happened with her. He influenced her. And then leading with empathy. He let her know that I feel your pain. Empathy is walking a mile in someone's shoes. Empathy is not sympathy. Sympathy is impersonal. It's I feel sorry for you. Empathy is I feel your pain. I hear with your ears. I see with your eyes. I feel with your heart. And as a boss, it's important that you do that. Some people tell you, I don't care, make sure it's done. Because the person needs the money, the person is going to stay at the job, but you have demotivated the person. So leadership success also talks about creating a positive work environment. That guy, when it was time for them to do the send forth for that her boss, I actually allowed her speak. And it was an organization. And so all of them kept saying, oh, that's true. That man was amazing. When it was time to do the send forth, people brought money, as in they needed maybe 500,000 to do the send forth. By the time everybody brought money together, they had over 2 million naira because everybody wanted to make sure the guy had a good send forth. So that boss that you like, that boss that you like to work with, forget working under pressure. I'm talking about someone who has made things easy for you. How has that boss helped you? And that's the indicator to how you should also extend grace to people when you become a boss. Another thing you can do for us is self-awareness. Self-awareness in leadership, understanding your own strengths and weaknesses and emotional triggers. It helps leaders to manage their behavior and make thoughtful decisions that will positively impact their team. I have an amazing friend and client who works as an executive in one of the telcos in Nigeria. She understood how much fuel was becoming a problem and she knew how it was stressing her. This is how working with empathy. She told them, for days that you don't have to come into the office, you can work from home. Let us not put that much pressure on you to make sure you're here on time. And then it affects your productivity also. But she had to even, first of all, understand her own strengths. She knew what her own weaknesses were, and she was able to use it to help her people in their own work. So what are the techniques for developing self-awareness? Self-awareness, we understand that it is the bane, it is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Some people will say, know thyself. When you know yourself, it's easier to manage yourself. So what is self-awareness? It involves recognizing and understanding your own emotions, understanding your thoughts, and how they affect your behavior. We know what the TFA map is, which is our thoughts, feelings, and actions map. Our thoughts are so tangible. Many people don't realize how tangible our thoughts are. We just think that, okay, they said there are 80,000 thoughts that go through a person's mind. Well, 60 to 80,000. So if that's the case, I cannot control it, but hey, you can control your thoughts. You can actually control the thinking that you have, because it will in turn affect your feelings. And then guess what? Your feelings affect your actions. And then nobody sees your feelings and your thoughts. What they see is your actions. And before you know it, you will be labeled by your actions. Instead of you to just understand that. And this is why I always tell people that we judge people based on their actions. However, we judge ourselves based on our intentions. And the reason for this is because I know my thoughts. I know how I felt before I acted the way that I did. However, I don't know your thoughts that led to the way you felt, which made you act the way you acted. So this is why self-awareness is so important. Know your thoughts. Understand why you are thinking the way you're thinking. Understand why you're feeling. So there is a phrase that says, name it, trace it, name it, so you can erase it. When you are able to name your emotions, when you feel a feeling and you're able to ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? Self-reflection. Why am I feeling like this? What happened? What led to this? Then you realize, oh, this is the thoughts that came to me. And then at that time, there is something called swapping the thoughts. Why are you thinking that? In therapy, many times you hear people say, oh, this is what I was thinking. And then after that, it was downhill from there. When you get to that point, ask yourself, why am I feeling? What did I see? What did I hear? Most times is our eye gate or our ear gate. What did I see or what did I hear? And as soon as you can do that, what you need to do is swap the thoughts, and then it will elevate your feelings. And guess what? Your actions will also be modified. So self-awareness is so important. What techniques can you use? Journal. Regularly writing your thoughts and your feelings to gain insight into your emotional patterns. That's what journaling is. Journaling is like opening up the curtains of your brain for breeze to blow through. Because there is something, that's why we tell people to exercise. When you exercise, you just feel like there's freshness in your thoughts, in your mind. You have allowed fresh air to blow through your own physical body. So that's what journaling does for you. And guess what journaling does again? It helps you understand your patterns. You might lie to yourself. Other people may lie to you. But when you write it out, especially if you're being brutally honest with yourself when you're journaling, you will see your patterns. You will see what it is that got to you. I had to go read through my journal recently, and I realized how much I allow people's words get to me. And I'm like, okay, so why did I feel this way? Oh, it's because of what this person said. And why am I letting it get to me? Is it the truth? What can I take from this? What can I change about this? If it is the truth, what can I change? If it is not the truth, then hey, and we'll get to feedback. So self-awareness is important, and in journaling, it helps you know your patterns. Your patterns will never lie to you. You may lie to you, someone else may lie to you, but your patterns, which are intrinsic, which are your subconscious, will never lie to you. So journal. Another thing you need to do is meditate. Meditate and breathe deeply. It's not the that we all do. It is breathing, taking deep breaths. Maybe you breathing for like 4-5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, and then breathe out very slowly through your mouth for another 5 seconds. It has a way of calming your whole self. And then there's perspective that begins to come to you at that time. When you are breathing down and you're doing your breathing exercises, you are actually sending an information to your brain and your nervous system that, hey, area calm, no shots fired, everything is okay. And then you're able to think more clearly. This can work for people who are having issues with anxiety or panic attacks. It will help you very greatly because it will help you become more in tune with your emotions. Another thing you need to do under self-awareness is reflective questions. Ask yourself questions like, what emotions did I feel today? And you can do that in your journal, because sometimes we think we'll just think it and then it will pass. The bluntest pencil is sharper than the sharpest brain. That's why you need to journal your reflective questions. How did I react in that situation today? When my boss spoke to me the way he spoke to me, what did I feel? Why did I react like that? Why did that get to me? Why did that trigger me? Very importantly. Another technique for self-regulation. Okay, sorry, we go on to self-regulation. So self-regulation is the ability to manage and control the emotional responses you have in various situations. What techniques do we have? First of all, pause before you react or pause before you respond. There is the event, then there is the response or the reaction, and then there is the outcome. And this is why I talked about the outcome being your action, and that's how everybody starts to view you and they start to label you as such. There is this TikTok video. There's no time I will have played it, but the video is Veronica. Go and find Veronica in the workplace. You would laugh your heart out. Veronica is cantankerous. I mean, I wouldn't want to work in the same office as Veronica. If I worked in the same office as Veronica, I would have to make sure that I mix patience, endurance, long suffering, everything, mix it together every morning and take 3 gulps before I get into office, 3 gulps while I'm at the office, 3 gulps when I'm leaving the office, because she was something else. So you need to be able to know yourself before you can manage yourself. That's why we say that self-awareness is the foundation. And so for you to be able to manage yourself, you must pause. When something comes at you, when something happens, develop that habit of pausing before you respond, especially in an emotionally charged situation. Sometimes we listen to respond or react. We just want to just back at somebody because of what has come at us. However, when you pause, it gives you perspective. It gives you a chance to actually, give a more a more, I won't say demure, a more respectable response than reacting, because most times when we act in impulse, we most likely will regret what we have said. However, if a person responds after they have thought it through and they come back to respond and it's still a cantankerous response, that means that is what they wanted to give as a response. But it's important that you pause so that you can respond in emotionally charged situations. Positive self-talk is another technique. You need to replace negative thoughts with constructive ones to keep your emotions balanced. That's why I said catch the stinking thinking and then replace it with something that is more productive. Always positive self-talk. Nothing marks your soul like your positive self-talk. It doesn't matter what anybody else says to you. What you say to yourself is most important. The next technique is stress management. You need to engage in activities like exercise or breathing exercises to help reduce your stress levels. That's why we tell people to walk away when something happens. Just walk away. Go and take a walk. Go and do something else. Another technique under social awareness is the ability to understand and empathize with emotions and the perspective of others. This is so key. One technique that will help you is active listening. You need to pay full attention to others when you're speaking to you and acknowledge their feelings without necessarily interrupting them. When we listen, you listen with your body, you listen with your face. You can't be listening and you're holding your mobile. And I'm like, I'm talking to you. Say, no, is it not my ears I used to hear? I'm hearing you now. How about I'm hearing you? I'm just trying to do this. You're not listening. Active listening is you listening. Have you ever heard when you call the telcos and they tell you, did you say? That's actually them actively listening to you and also not wanting to, misunderstand what you have said to them. That's what they use in telcos. Another technique is observation. You need to practice observing nonverbal cues such as body language and facial expressions to understand others better. It's so important. You can tell when a person is not feeling you. So understand, read the room. When you get into a place, read the room, understand what is going on. Some people just come in, you see that the conversation has come down. They probably don't want you to hear what they're hearing, but you're thinking, what's the problem? Talk now. Is it that people don't want me to hear what you're saying? Yes, they don't want you to hear, and they are entitled to their own privacy. It is valid. It is a valid thing. So please understand, read the room, read nonverbal cues, body language, and facial expressions so you can understand others better. Next one is empathy development. Put yourself in another person's shoes. I said it earlier. You're walking in a mile in someone's shoes when you empathize with them. You're hearing with their ears. You're hearing from the ears of another, seeing from the eyes of another. Empathy is so important. So you need to help them so you can understand their emotions and their reactions. Someone comes to work crying, and then you just look at her and say, that's not my business. Get to work and get it done. You need to understand what's going on with you. Why are you crying? What happened? Listen to them first. When you have heard them, then you are able to now understand how to help. If you want to tell them you may go home, or you know what, just calm down. Do you think you can work today? Nothing is cast in stone. Nobody will die. You can find someone else to take the job on for that day. Because when you extend grace to someone like that, guess what happens? The person comes back and wants to go over and beyond to make sure work is better done. The next one is relationship management. Relationship management involves building and maintaining healthy relationships through effective communication and conflict resolution. Coach Falaka talked about communication yesterday, so we'll not overflow this. What are the techniques? Clear communication. Just speak clearly. I remember someone telling me one time that she said, Tega, my problem with you is that you are not articulate. I understood that she didn't understand the meaning of articulate, so I forgive her. But however, I had to take the feedback from that. What is it that happened to me? And I realized that every time I'm talking to her, I'm under tension because she was, one of my bosses. I'm under tension because I know she's listening to criticize, not to give me feedback, but to criticize. So I am always, you know how I'm stuttering all over the place. So I understood what she was saying. So you need to practice speaking clearly, listen actively, and respond thoughtfully in conversations. I have done this thing so many times that I've made a mess out of a lot of things. And that's when I was younger. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to be an emotional intelligence coach because that is what has helped me come into the strength that I have now. I didn't even know how much I needed it. That's why they say emotional intelligence is life. It helps you to really manage your relationships. So, clear communication. Number 2, conflict resolution. Learn to address conflicts in a calm and constructive manner. It's important that we focus on solutions rather than blame. Many times we attack people, but what we should be doing is attacking the issues and not the people. I am disappointed in what you have done is different from I'm disappointed in you. When you say I'm disappointed in you, I have attacked you, but I have not attacked what you have done. It is what you have done that has caused this disappointment. So attack the issue and not the person. Focus on solutions. There's some people that you're having conversations with. Okay, this is what has happened. They'll now be like, okay, that's how that day you did this. That's how she's always doing this. Every time we come together as a team, she never comes early. What you should be thinking of is, how can we sort this out? How can we all get this done? Okay, and if you notice, there's always someone that will be like, okay, can we move forward from here? And there's always one person that keeps saying, no, this is how she always does. What do we do about this? No. To be emotionally intelligent, to be able to manage relationships, attack the issues and not the people. Constantly seek for solution and not constantly, like they say, fuel the fire. Look for solutions rather than blame. The next technique is team collaboration. You need to always find ways to encourage open dialogue among your teammates. Respect diverse opinions. You can't constantly think that it's your way or the highway. When it comes to emotional intelligence, listen, there are always options. There are always options. It's not one way or the highway. Another thing you need to know is nothing means anything except the meaning that you give to it. And that comes under conflict resolution. When someone says, like, let me use what I constantly use. Someone does this. This is, for some people, when you put your hands up like this, they'll be like, you're telling me my mother. How does this translate to your mother? If you think about it now as an adult with your brain intact, how does this now, how is that interpreted to be your mother? Uwaka. Do you understand? And people have fought. People have gone to police station and been locked up because they started a fight because of that. But my son, because to the pure, all things are pure, you do this to my son, he'll tell you, high five, mommy. That's what it is. Nothing means anything except the meaning that you give to it. So that's what we call cognitive reframing. If someone comes to you with something, you reframe it in your mind to suit your emotions for the sake of your own emotions, instead of you attacking someone, say that didn't mean anything. It was the meaning that you gave to it that you reacted to. Embracing feedback for personal growth. What is feedback? Feedback is information. Feedback is information about past behavior that is delivered in the present to influence future behavior. I'll define that again. Feedback is information about past behavior that is delivered in the present to influence future behavior. And why is it important? It's important for growth because it allows you to recognize your strengths. It allows you to know your areas for improvement, which leads to personal and professional development. If nobody tells you how you have done, and this is something that I'm grateful for when it comes to someone like Coach Folake, for instance, this is something that she does for me personally. Okay, so importance for third world country things. I apologize. So feedback, like I said, is information about past behavior that is delivered in the present to influence your future behavior. So it's important for growth because it helps you to recognize your strengths and areas for improvement will lead to personal and professional development. It's if you don't take feedback, you would never grow. That's the truth. You would never ever grow. You would think that you're growing, but you would never grow. And that's why emotional intelligence is important. When someone comes at you with information or feedback, you should be able to take it. Take, like I said, take the lesson. What is it that you need to learn in this? Take it out and then move ahead if it's not true. And this is why private and public self-awareness assessments is very good. If you have feedback from someone, you can take it to people who you trust, who you know are not going to try and run you down. Because there's some people that are like that. They just want to run you down for the sake of running you down. So you can find someone who you know that is trusted, who is going to be honest, and then you give to them. Because of course we understand what the Johari window talks about. It talks about the parts where you have some blind spots. So you might not even realize that you have blind spots. So having private public self-awareness is very important. Go ask people. Ask them, how did I react in situations like this? What did I do here? What did I do there? That is very important. It helps you to know what to do. Effective leaders actively seek out feedback because it helps them understand how they are perceived. And it helps them to identify opportunities to enhance their leadership skills. I wish that more of us will actually accept feedback because it is very, very key in our own growth. What are the techniques for embracing feedback? You need to cultivate a good mindset. You need to understand that feedback is an opportunity to learn and grow rather than see it as criticism. That is why I always ask a few people. Ask 3 people that love you, that are honest enough. Because some people that love you will not be honest enough. They'll be like, they don't want to hurt you. They don't want to break your heart. So they're not going to be able to tell you the truth. So they're going to just be like, okay, no, you are actually good. Find brutal people like Coach Folake that will tell you the truth about your life and call you out on your BS. So find people like that. So view it as an opportunity to learn. She's done that for me and it's helped me. I've been able to move from some places that I am, and I am better for it because I know it's from a place of love and from a place of wanting me to be better. And so it helped me with that because it can be easy when it's someone that is random that tells you that, you can get very upset. I'm like, how dare you? Who are you to talk to me like that? How can you tell me that I'm a bad team player? How can you tell me that I am this, I am that? But someone who is honest with you will tell you the truth, who loves you and is honest. Don't ask your mother. She loves you too much. She won't want to hurt you. Then number 2, ask for specific feedback. Encourage specific and actionable feedback from your peers, your supervisors, your team members, just to understand how you can improve is very important. Ask people. That is the public self-awareness I'm talking about. Ask people. There's one that you do on yourself. That's the self-reflection. You understand. There is one that you ask people. And like I said, ask people who are vested in your growth. Don't ask a person who wants to run you down. And we always know them. We know them even before we ask them because your intuition is very, very sharp and most times is right. So when you know that this person, if I ask this person going to want to bust my balloon. No, leave this one. You won't bust my bubble. You won't take the wind out of my sails. Ask the one that is going to be honest with you. So please ask for specific feedback on things that you have done. Then the next thing is respond positively. When people give you feedback, don't start arguing with them and start saying, no, that's not how I am. No, you're the only one. Everybody else thinks I'm a good team player. Everyone thinks that I have emotional intelligence. Everyone thinks that I have empathy. No, you're the only one that thinks like that. The fact that one person has thought about it, you go back and do your personal reflection. Is this true? In what areas? What you can also do is ask the person, when did I actually act in this way? At what point? Ask specific questions so that when they give you a specific answer, you know that, oh, this is what they're talking about. However, if they don't give you a specific response as to the time where they saw where you did not act accordingly or act appropriately, then you know that they're actually just being vague and you can't really hold that feedback, with a lot of, you can't hold that feedback strongly. So respond positively. When you hear it, accept it with gratitude, even if it's constructive or critical, but go and make necessary changes in your behavior or your approach. If someone tells you something like, this is how you are, tell yourself that, okay, let me go back and check. And that's why journaling is important, because then you will see your patterns. If more than one person says that about you, then actually maybe there's something to actually look at. Maybe there's something you need to actually work on. Then the next one is create a feedback loop. Regularly check in with colleagues and mentors to assess your progress and make adjustments as needed. It's so important. And when people see that you come to, especially if it's your boss, that you go to for feedback and they're able to tell you constructively what the feedback is, and they see you constantly trying to work on it. It's not because sometimes we take feedback and we're like, I've always known that this person doesn't like me. Look at what she said about me. They will never give you feedback again because they saw how the thing has hurt you. It happened to me. I used to be quite emotional. I'm working on it. I'm work in progress. You tell me something, I'll be like, oh my God, that hurt me because I thought I was such a good person. But these days, when you tell me something, I decide I'm going to work on it. My husband is constantly telling me how I leave doors open. I always thought this man is joking. How can you say I leave doors open? I never leave doors open. And I want you to know that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So when he told me that I leave doors open, I answered him, Daddy, I wasn't in a good mood. I'm like, please, I don't leave doors open. But because of the path of my career path I'm on, I realized that this might be a pattern for me. And so I started trying to notice my patterns actively. This is where self-awareness is important too. And so guess what happens? I go through a door, I leave it open. I open the microwave, I take my food out, I leave the microwave open. I take out something from the shelf in the kitchen, I leave the door open. I open a bottle of water, I don't finish drinking it, I leave it open, I don't close it. I figured after that this man actually wasn't telling a lie. And since then, instead of me to go back and tell him, you were telling the truth, guess what I did? I just started making sure I close the doors. When I pass the door, I shut it. When I take something from the microwave, I close it. When I open a bottle, I shut it. I started taking, this is when you say taking dressing. So when people give you feedback, it's not because they want to attack you. It's not because they want to criticize you. It is because they have noticed a pattern with you and they have brought it to your notice. What do you do with it? Monitor your progress, make adjustments. And I'm grateful for it because it was just a door my husband talked about. Then I realized, I noticed my patterns and I saw that I was leaving doors open, leaving microwave open. And then even conversations, I don't close conversations. I may start something with you. If the phone goes off, I won't call you back. I'll be like, it's okay, especially if it's an uncomfortable situation. So you need to know what your patterns are. This is why I said patterns do not lie. You may lie to yourself, other people may lie to you, but your patterns will never lie to you. Those are techniques that you can use to increase your emotional intelligence to accelerate in your career. Because in the workplace, if someone constantly tells you, every time they give you feedback, you're constantly shouting, you don't calm down to listen, you're not actively listening, it's important that you know that this. Start to check your patterns and begin to tell yourself, I am going to work on these things very, very consciously. There is a saying that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. So thank you very, very much. We've come to the end of the class. Thank you. Over to you, Coach Israel and Atinake.
Wow, amazing, 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 amazing. Speechless. I don't have words for that session. Thank you so much, Coach Tega. Can we make it rain in the chat room, please? Let Coach Tega know that we're truly, truly grateful. I can see how busy the chat room has been. Ayoba Esther has been doing a fantastic job dropping a lot of punchlines. Yeah. Etta Gift, we see you as well. Thank you so much. What stood out for me in all of this conversation was the role of feedback. I never saw it in that light before. When people tell you something they've observed about you, it's because they've noticed a gap. And it is important how you handle feedback.
Yeah,
it's very important to whether or not you grow.
Yes.
Okay, what stood out for you?
She said something. Emotional intelligence is life.
Wow.
That's the cap.
I can't overemphasize that.
That's the cap, because of course you're dealing with people with different emotions, different backgrounds, different experiences. So you want to ensure that you're self-aware.
Absolutely.
And you respond. She said you have to notice your actions, your reactions, and of course the end of the outcome of what happens. So emotional intelligence is life.
That patterns don't lie. I picked that from Stella as well. Thank you so much, Coach Tega. We took so much away from your session, and we're so grateful for the value that you have selflessly added to the conversations at the Career Acceleration Summit 2024. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. We're truly grateful for the gift that you are to us. CS community, let's make it rain one more time. Let us appreciate Coach Tega for being gracious and generous with our words. We will bring you back at about the end of this morning session for a panel discussion with other panelists who will be joining us to have robust conversations in the room today. Thank you so much once again, Coach Tega. We're truly thankful for your session. We learned so much and we're truly grateful. Who is ready for the next session? The next speaker that we're bringing up after this short interlude is someone whose session you don't want to miss. So please, if you're yet to share this, don't sleep on a treadmill, like the convener of the CS will say. Stop sleeping on a treadmill. And if I'm going to ask you once again, have you subscribed to this YouTube page? Have you registered for the Career Acceleration Summit? If you haven't done that, I am asking you why haven't you done that? Please, can you go ahead and just like, share, and comment on this YouTube page already? Let's make this community grow, and turn up the notification bell as well. Turn it on so that when next we come up or whenever we drop life impacting materials that will help you accelerate your career journey, you will be the first to know. Please make sure you do that right away as we proceed. We'll be taking a short commercial break. Pardon my choice of word. We're taking a short break to look through one or two more things about the Career Acceleration Summit. We have a whole lot in store for you, and then we'll be back in your faces to bring up our next speaker, Mr. Mohammad Baguda. You don't want to miss a session. I tell you again, it is important that you get everyone you love in the room, because this next session is going to blow your mind. Coach Tega started so well, but trust me, we're moving at the speed of light. Yes. So fasten your seatbelts, get ready as we proceed with the short break that we're having now, and then we'll take our next speaker. CS Media Team, please take it over from here. Thank you.
Okay, we're here to appreciate our amazing sponsors. Trust me, without some of them, we would not be here live with you. Want to thank. We're thanking Tierra Singh. Oh, thank you, Tierra Singh, as our engineering consulting partners. Woo! They've been amazing. Thank you so much for this impact. We also thank our Image Classic Productions as our production company partners. Without them, we'll be in darkness.
Thank you.
You're not seeing our fine faces.
You need to see our studio. It's so beautiful.
Actually,
we have amazing lights, and we hope to share that with you on our social media handles. So if you're not following us on Facebook, on Instagram, follow Katzin Consult and follow Career Acceleration Summit. Follow the convener, Afolake Agubiade, across all of the social media platforms if you want to see juicy pictures and videos from the Career Acceleration Summit. We welcome Citygate Solicitors as our legal partner. Thank you so much, Citygate Solicitors, for partnering with us at the Career Acceleration Summit. We are truly Truly grateful for you. And we cannot but mention Studio 24.
Yes,
Without them, you probably might not see our lovely faces and Atinuke's beautiful smile. Thank you so much, Studio 24, for being with us in-house consistently from day one up until today.
Yes.
We're truly grateful for you. Thank you for being our partners. The convener was saying yesterday that Studio 24 is the longest partner and client of Captain Consult. Thank you for the history and the journey of growth that we've had together over the years. We truly appreciate you. Please make it rain a round of applause in the chat room for all of our sponsors and partners. We say thank you very much once again, and to our in-house Career Acceleration Summit team, our volunteers. We were all here up until about 9 p.m. West African time yesterday, just making sure everything works out beautifully. And to bring you this global summit, we want to say big thank you to everyone who is partnering with us and working with us on site and offline to make this summit a huge success. We're truly grateful for you. And talking about acknowledging all of our amazing guests, we had a few of them drop their names earlier. I would like to recognize you before we move on with today's event. We see you. Keep introducing yourself from wherever you're joining us from. Thank God, Amadi joining from Abuja. We see you. Loretta Wosu, we see you joining from the beautiful city of Lagos. We see you as well. Thank you for joining. Prosper Onyewuchi joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much. JJ Etim from Calabar, the beautiful city of Calabar in Cross River State. We say thank you so much for joining us at the Career Acceleration Summit. If you're here to drop your name and where you're joining us from, please don't sleep on a treadmill. We have also on the screen Perfect Trust Cosmetics. They've given us amazing discounts for everyone who has registered. We'd like to say thank you so much, Perfect Trust Cosmetics. If you're yet to register, you will be excluded from this discount.
Yes.
So please, if you're yet to register, please click on the link that you'll find in the live chat room. Media team, please can you drop that one more time so that you can benefit and partake from all the generous perks that our partners have dropped graciously for all the participants in this year's edition of the Career Acceleration Summit. Chioma Goodness Adike from Anambra State, we see you as well. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you very much, everyone. Ayoba Esther, once again, a loud shout out to you joining us from the United States of A. Thank you for staying up to join us and to be a part of this global experience we're having. We appreciate you all. We promise that we're going to acknowledge every single person who joins this conference and tells us where they're joining from. We look forward to welcoming you to this global summit, streaming live from the Career Acceleration Summit studio here in the beautiful city of Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, Nigeria. From Nigeria to the world, we're happy to connect with you, and we're happy to bring you this beautiful experience. We're bringing up our next speaker. Atinuke will take that for us. Over to you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Mohammad Baguda. He's going to be taking the topic, Understanding Workplace Culture and Politics, Thriving Amidst Diversity.
All right.
I am sure we all want to know how to survive in a diverse community.
Okay, I'll read his profile very briefly as we bring him up. For those who don't know, he's my brother. Yes, we look alike. All right, Mohammad Atiku Baguda is a special advisor, stakeholder management and finance to the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. He holds a postgraduate diploma International Business Management from Heriot-Watt University, Scotland, diploma in Fiscal, Monetary and Taxation Policies for Nigeria from the Central University for Finance and Economics, Beijing, China. He also has a BSc in International Business Management from the Birmingham City University, Birmingham, United Kingdom. He has previously been the chairman, Northern Dover Group, from January 2021 to March 2023, and also the executive director at BGD Properties Limited from March 2017 to December 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining in from across the world, please make it rain for our very own Hello, 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 MB. How
Hello,
are you today?
hello.
Excited to
Good
see
morning.
you.
Good morning,
Hi.
ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Israel. Good morning, sister.
You're
How are you
welcome.
doing?
You're welcome.
Good
I hope
Good
morning.
morning.
everyone here is having a lovely day. Thank you very much for having me. I've been excited all week to come and attend this comment and to be able to share as much information and knowledge as I can. So I'm looking forward to this. Good morning to all active participants in every corner of the world. It is my pleasure to be speaking to you, to be engaging with you. And on that note, I would like to start my stream by being a little bit, just a little bit different than everybody else. And I want to ask, would you like this session to be an interactive session between all of us? I can get your questions from the YouTube live stream, or would you be more comfortable with it just being a speech? Whichever one I'm more comfortable with. I can tell you for free as of this point that I am a little bit more unconventional than the other speakers, but in a good manner and not a bad manner. So I'll be awaiting your responses in the comments. So please, um, just for you can take 1 minute out to decide which route we'll be choosing. No responses? Okay. I guess let's just go straight into it. So, understanding workplace culture and politics. I'll say this topic is very dear to me because just to give a little bit more, just to add a little more context to everybody, first of all, I'm 25 years old. So, I may not have a lifeline of experience as many of the other speakers have, but within my short age and my short time, I have successfully been able to manage relationships and find my way to the top. So these are the few key strategies that I've used in able to doing that. So let's start by diving into insights into corporate culture and dynamics. So as a young person entering an office, what I want everyone to realize is when you step into that building, a lot of people are already looking at, okay, here is someone new, here is someone unexperienced, here is someone who, for a lack of better words, we have to put through the ropes, we have to teach. But what I want from you as a young person when you first step into the building is for you to look at this place as, okay, this is a challenging environment. This is a new environment. This is an environment in which I have to go and humble myself to understand the environment, to understand the organizational structure, most importantly, understand the politics, and how should I challenge myself to outshine? How can I challenge myself to do better than others? How can I challenge myself to push to be at the top? And here are a few strategies. Now, one of the first things that I've realized with corporate culture, when you go into a new building, one of the first things that you would realize is there is this cultural mentality of the old guard versus the new guard. What do I mean? For example, if you're working in a government organization or you're working at a big parastatal, you would come to realize that those who were in the system, let's say for the first 10 years, would always deem and view themselves as we are the first set of people to be here. We have a better understanding. We know the system better. We are the original set. Then usually anybody that has been employed post, let's see, 2012, 2013, you would find that okay, this is more of the newer generation who have come to join. These are more of the that is where you tend to find, for a lack of better words, more of Gen X and Gen Z. Yes, I said it. Gen X and Gen Z. And why I put this as the biggest distinction is because of change of mentality and because of change of generation, you would come to realize that you would always find frictions in the workplace. You would come to realize that you would always find imbalances. Being able to effectively manage relationships and effectively being able to act in accordance to which benefits both parties is not an easy task, because to be very honest, we youths of Nigeria right now, I won't necessarily say we are the best at handling our emotions, and we may not be the best at handling situations. And what do I mean by that? We can be quick to overreact, and we need to realize that not everything requires that quick overreaction. And what do I mean by that? Someone in the office who is 50 years old, now whether you are connected or you are not connected, whether you work in the same department or do you not work in the same department, you may even be the same rank as this person, but regardless of anything, because of our Nigerian cultural mentality, you as a younger person in your 20s or 30s, there is only such that you are allowed or expected to do to that person in their 50s or address them in a certain manner. Now, I am not saying that you should go to the office and you should be treating everybody like they are your parents or giving them room for them to get away with some certain behavior. No, but you must be able to find that balance in making sure that this situation and this this interaction between the both of you has been managed and is working seamlessly. Now, the second thing about corporate culture and dynamics, you must learn to read the room. And what do I mean by that? Learning to read the room in an organizational setting is when you first enter, make sure you have studied not only the political environment, but the emotional environment. And what do I mean by the emotional environment? When you walk into someone's office, you must first gauge what is the person working on, what is the person going through, how does this person look, how does this person, you can't just go to somebody wanting to ask them for files or wanting to request for some bits of work or wanting to engage with them for some bits of work when you can see that this person is either visibly irritable, this person has something that is doing them. Because I've come to realize in a lot of cultures, people just expect to go in, request for what you in a lot of organizations rather, people expect to just walk in, meet who you want, get what you want, come out, and then they act frustrated when it's not the case. Yes. And that's why you see a lot of people are always saying the system doesn't work. Now, I am not justifying anybody's behavior, and neither am I making excuses for them. But one thing that we are not wary of in our interactions, and I think this transgresses from just the workplace, because you would also see it, for example, with people's interactions with police at the checkpoints. We expect that, oh, someone has a job. When we go, they should just do their job and then we should be able to go out and go and do what we want to do to continue our day or continue what we're doing. And yes, to a certain extent, that's right. But sometimes we need to learn how to outsmart in order to achieve what we want. And what do I mean by that? The reason why I use the example of the police at the checkpoints, you can see a policeman standing at a checkpoint for maybe 4 or 5 hours under the sun. And when someone is stopped or they feel, okay, this policeman has spoken to them in a certain way or he has treated them in a certain way, they get quick, they want to overreact. And if an incident should come out of that, regardless of the situation, it's meant to be the policeman's fault. But let's give consideration. This man has been standing under the sun for maybe 5 hours at that same checkpoint. This man has probably not had water. This man probably has problems at home. This man probably hasn't had anything to eat or drink while he was there. And when you come to meet him, he's already processing a lot of things and he is already boxed up inside. So with your reaction or your interaction is just going to make things slower instead of them to allow it to progress. And same thing for the office. A lot of times we believe, oh, when you walk into a government office, somebody should just be sat on their desk and they should be there waiting to deal with you. They should be there. I understand the frustration. I understand that everyone wants everything to be effective and everyone wants everything to be clean and cut and prim and proper. But sometimes we must also be able to identify how to be able to go about getting what we want, even when people are in those bad situations. Hence, my earlier use of the word outsmart. Learn how to outsmart people in these situations to get what you want. It is probably the biggest piece of advice that I can give on this call, and it is the biggest. Key to your success in the workplace. Outsmarting, 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 outsmarting. Moving on to the next segment, strategies for handling workplace policies and thriving. This is arguably my favorite part, and I do believe this is where I'll speak the most. Right. In terms of striving in the workplace, especially with the politics of the workplace, the first piece of advice that I'll give everybody on this call, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of position, is, so please, if you're a CEO or you're entry level staff, this advice is for you. Stay prepared so you do not have to be prepared. Please, what did I say? Stay prepared so you do not have to be prepared. The biggest thing you can do for yourself and the biggest thing you can do for your organization is to stay prepared so you do not have to be prepared. To those on the call who know me, they will know that I can give at least 12 hours of my day, or even sometimes 14 hours of my day, to make sure that I'm preparing for the next day or for the next 2 or 3 days. Why? Because the biggest talent you can have to yourself is to discipline your body and to prepare your body and let them know that you are always willing to go above and over than others. In the Quran, there's a passage that says, وَالزَّيْتِينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ. We were all created in pairs. Allah created every single human being different, equal. The only difference between you and I on this call is the amount of hard work and effort that we are willing to put in. Now, the only thing that can differentiate our amount of hard work and effort that we have put in is one simple thing. And this is why I tell people that success is not hard. I'm not saying it is easy, but success is not hard, because it means for you to be successful, you should be willing to get up and do one thing that unfortunately a majority of the people of the population of the world are not willing to do. A good 30 to 40% of people in the world are not doing this, or they're not able to sustain it, rather. And all it is consistency. Consistency. It's not easy to stay consistent. It's not easy to begin on a trajectory and reach the end. And it's not going to be a one-day process. It's not going to be a 2-day process. It will take weeks. It will take months. But that's the only thing that is distinguishing between the success of you and somebody else. Because both of you can work hard. Because both of you can decide, okay, I'm going to go out from morning to night, 247, trying to make something happen. But then what would not be the difference? One person will just say that, okay, I'm going to be consistent on this for 1 year, and let's say another person tries being consistent for it from 1 month. You cannot then expect to have the same results, even if you are putting in the same amount of hard work. It's not going to work. Now, my second point, once again, I go back to my point: outsmarting. In the politics of the office is the same thing as the politics anywhere. Whether in Nigeria, whether abroad, whether in other industries, the politics of office will always remain the same. Now, you as a person, what should be the focal play of your political strategy? Number one, be humble. Stay humble. In all situations, humble yourself. In fact, when somebody is even speaking on something you know, listen and take it in from a perspective of, I have never heard this before, or I have never learned this. The moment you do that, it puts you in a perspective where you're even conditioning your mind for you to be able to learn from new perspectives. So no matter how much knowledge you already have, it won't hurt for you to be able to add anything on top of that if you decide to humble yourself. Number two is by you engaging. And what do I mean by engaging? You engage with people, you build relationships, you keep networks. But just because you are maintaining relationships and you are building network, it does not mean everybody is your friend. What did I say? It does not mean everybody is your friend. Learn to differentiate between who are your friends in the office, who are my colleagues in the office, who are the people that I can partner with for work, and who are the people that I can partner with for certain projects. There's a difference, because you don't need the whole world and you don't need the whole office entering into your business and maintaining, because what will now happen? Workplace gossip. Try and avoid workplace gossip as much as you can. Why? Because it will just draw one, unnecessary attention, and number two, it can then start to cloud your judgments. And it's nothing but human nature. If today you're hearing this person has said that, that person has said that, you won't know who to trust and you won't know how to deal with them. So from the beginning, just cut it off and mitigate it as much as you can. And that goes into my next point: identifying strategic partnerships in the office. This is arguably one of the most important aspects to your survival in the office, if you ask me. And my reason for saying so is, no one man is an island. No matter how much you think you can do it all, you cannot. You cannot, You need to learn to have hands in every department, have a relationship with almost every director, have a relationship with ground staff. That is the only way you can build your relevance in the office. That is the only way you can be relevant to yourself, or you can even be relevant to others. What do I mean? Most people think that because you are employed by an agency and you are sent to a department, you should just maintain that department, and all you should do is the work that has been provided for you. No, I tell people this: offices are like political parties. They are nothing other than a platform for you to stand on, or a platform for you to start with. But what you make out of it is nothing but your own doing. How that organization benefits you. I see a lot of people who work in organizations, both private and government. Don't worry, no, I'm not specifying any group. And they make comments a lot about, the office should just be focusing on our own welfare as staff. The office should do this. Each staff is entitled to, please don't misquote me, each staff is entitled to welfare. Please, I am the biggest advocate of staff welfare, and I will continue to advocate for staff welfare. But what I would like to, what my point is now is, a lot of people are just focused on what the organization can do for them in terms of their own personal benefits, but they don't ask themselves, how can I add value to this, and how can this organization benefit me wholly? Build your networks, be able to go to another department and be able to get things done. Be able to be that person that if one question is asked about your organization, you can be the focal point, you can be the go-to person. You can talk to anybody, you can arrange anything, you can make things happen. That is the only way that you can be useful in the office. Because if we're being honest, with all due respect, in any organization we go to now, major corporations rather, you will see that you're in a pool competing with over 100 or 1,000 staff. How do you expect for you to shine out? How do you expect for management to see you? How do you expect to put yourself in a position that your career continues to grow? How do you expect to be in a position where, when anything is going to happen in the office, you are the focal point that they're looking for? It's by doing these little steps, by building these relationships, by building these networks, by engaging, by maintaining these relationships. And that is the most important part of it. To build a relationship is easy, but to maintain it is another ball game. And in order to successfully maintain a relationship, it does not mean that, every day you must be present. It does not mean that, every day you have engaged. But please, if you have a network or you have a connection, at least in a week, try and say hello to them 2 or 3 times. It doesn't hurt for them to see your face a little bit. And that is the key. Do not put yourself in a position where every day, because if you're doing it every day, at some point they're going to get tired of seeing you. You also want to be in a position where you're relevant enough that the day you call, they will pick up because they know, this one a better person, oh, there's something that we can do. You understand? Not the one that, every day you are calling, they're just gisting, or then they now see your call, like, maybe this one is just going to be a disturbance. You don't want to be that person. You don't. And the last thing that I would say for this segment of strategies for handling workplace policies and thriving is you need to find effective communication methods. I like what Coach Tega was talking about in the last segment, where during her speech, when she was talking about effective communication and processing feedback. In fact, I have to cut my own part short because she had taken into what I planned on saying. But just to summarize on that, because I had it written, Nigerians in general do not know how to take feedback. But then at the same time, Nigerians in general do not know how to speak. And you have to find it to toughen your skin. And you also have to find a way to be diplomatic enough to be able to come out and effectively get your points across without it turning into a bigger issue. What do I mean by that? You can play, you can joke. Sometimes there are hard conversations to be had, especially between a boss and a junior officer. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to communicate it. You can find a way to say it with a joke. You can find a way to be able to pull someone to the side, because sometimes the problem of what you're even saying, or the problem of people even taking what you've done, is not even the fact that you said what you said. It's because of you said it in front of people, which goes back to my earlier point of reading the room. Before, not everybody wants to hear something you have to say to them in front of everybody. Some people like secrecy. So it's about identifying and just managing your own set of effective communication after realizing and studying the office place or the workplace that you work in. And most importantly, have good relationship, have good communication, have good relationships with people, but please draw the line somewhere and keep boundaries, because it's very easy in Nigeria for a relationship to become from joking to disrespectful. It's a very fine line, and all it literally takes is just one little thing for it to happen. And unfortunately, as easy as it is to enter, it's not easy to come out. So I just wanted to reiterate on that point. And please, my people, there's something I would like to share as well. I would like everyone on this call to take away this one saying from me, please. You need to be able to teach your body emotionally what your future is going to feel and look like. And I don't want you to get up until you feel that way, until you have convinced yourself that you have visioned, you have thought what your future is going to look like. And when you have finally gotten up feeling that way, I want you to do that for at least 5 days straight or to 1 week straight. And then after that, I want you to tell me if you not see a change in your state, and all of a sudden doors that you were not seeing before start opening up. Because the most important thing that I've come to realize that has taken me so far right now are faith and mentality. You cannot move an inch without either, and you can move mountains with both by your side. There's nothing possible, there's nothing that you cannot achieve, and there's nothing that is not possible if you do not put your mind to it and you don't put your faith in God into it. And you have to learn to teach your body to discipline itself. It's not easy waking up every day at 5 a.m. to say you want to start getting ready to go to work that starts at 9 a.m. It's not easy to come back by 6 and 7 as well. And then that's when you even want to start having time for yourself to do it. Sometimes that's when you even have to start reading for work or prepare yourself for work tomorrow. So you see that you only have 3 hours or 4 hours of sleep, and then you have to do it again. It's not easy. It is not easy. And I'm compassionate with everyone that tries. It's not. But at the end of the day, you have to teach your body. You can condition your body to do anything you put your mind to once you have faith and once you are willing to put in the hard work and you're willing to stay consistent and dedicated to it. And that is the only thing that would literally set you apart from the others and be able to succeed. Because not many people are willing to do so, especially given the current situation. And my last segment for my speech today is fostering inclusivity and collaboration in the workplace. To effectively foster inclusivity and collaboration in the workplace, with all due respect, each and every single one of us here, I'm going to be picking on every single person here because I believe anyone who has registered and taken time out to come here to listen to all of us, all the amazing speakers speak today, that person has already set himself apart from all of their other colleagues and they have put themselves in a position higher than them because you are now here to accelerate your summit and you're here to accelerate your career and put yourself above. So I'll pick on you. Sorry for that. But we must take charge. Why must we take charge? We must take charge and lead. In most organizations, when you see that it is time to do work or for them to collaborate on a project or to collaborate on even something as little as a report, we might agree that yes, okay, we are going to share the roles. This person should do that. This person should do that. But my brother, my sister, we know say the truth is that not everybody is going to come through. And not everybody is going to work at the proper pace. Let's not whine ourselves. So what do we do in these situations? We take lead, we take charge. As simple as what? Maybe even creating a group chat. Maybe even identifying, okay, if this is this person's strength and this person's weakness, okay, let's balance it out in a way that we get the most effectiveness in the team. Sometimes it means that what? You may even have to lead and take charge and do what somebody else is not doing. I agree that yes, this is not school, so you're not responsible for anybody else. But at the end of the day, the way that your piece of work reflects on you is not that they'll say, oh, but this person didn't do that one. They are going to judge all of you together. So at that point, swallow your anger, swallow your pride, and be like, I'm not going to let this person's inconsistency bring me down. Take lead, take charge, and do what needs to be done. Also, on this same note of taking charge and taking lead, at the same time, do not be afraid to be a courageous leader. But as also being a courageous leader, do not be afraid to say, I do not know what do I do not know. Do not be afraid to say, I have identified these are my shortcomings, these are my weaknesses. Do not be afraid to say, oh, I am not good at this. I should be able to let somebody lead. Yes, as a good leader, being a good leader also includes you looking and being honest with yourself and saying, I may not be the best in the position to lead this team right now. So for the sake of the growth and not for my own personal self, I would allow what needs to be done to be done. It's just like now, how many people don't know that there are many years in the past where Bill Gates was not the president, was not the CEO of Microsoft, and neither was Steve Jobs, the CEO of Apple. There were times when they were CEOs and they saw it was not working out. They brought in new CEOs and they became chief technical officers so that they can focus on what? Their strengths that they know, which is building the software and the hardware and not running the organization. So that is what I mean by as a leader, you should also be able to identify and say, okay, my leadership skills are not genuine, they are not allowing the team to move forward. So I need to take one step back for the development and growth of the team, not myself, because that is the most important thing. In everything you do, it is not about you, it is about your team or your principal, the organization you work in. And every time you are making a decision or you are making an action, or even if you're working and you feel tired and you feel lazy and you feel like, oh, I cannot continue doing this, I cannot continue doing that, realize that that's your action that you are not putting your all in, or that's your action that you cannot complete. That's your action that you cannot complete. It is negatively impacting on the image of your organization. It is. Like now, let me give you the perfect example. So many times we in Nigeria, we are so quick to say, okay, our politicians, they are stealing, our government, they are doing this, our this thing, they are doing that. But people do not realize that, okay, government, the structure of government, it is not just a governor or a minister or the president that is just sitting down, he says what he wants. No, a lot of the information that is even brought to the president or to a governor or to a politician, this is the information that somebody has computed and it has gone up a chain of command. So before that piece of that file or before that work has even reached the top or to the desk of that politician that we are going to be so quick to abuse, sometimes we need to realize that we, the desk officers that have not done the work effectively, or we have not put in 110%, or we have not even given all the required information needed, we are also a part of that. We are also a part of that downfall or the negative impact on the nation, not just on that person. Because yes, at the end of the day, they will look at that person as the head of the agency or head of government and say that person is this, that person is that. He will be the one to chop the insult too. But at the end of the day, we also had our own hands to play by not doing what needed to be done and by not playing our own part and our own role. So, yes. Sorry, I just need some water. Right. So next, you must learn to help people to see perspective. Not everyone wants to see perspective when you're working together in an office place or when you're collaborating with other people. It is very easy for someone to stay focused on what they know because they have been doing that for a long time. And aside from that, they feel they are subject experts. And a lot of people are also prideful. So when you're working together with someone and there's a segment on what they know or what is their field, it will not always be easy for them to take your advice if what they are saying is not correct. But what should you do as a smart and responsible business leader? You convince and you help people see perspective. You don't force, you convince. You have to find a way to learn how to slightly convince them for them to see things from your own view, or see things from a more holistic approach, which could then turn out to be beneficial for all parties involved. And last and not least, I will go back to my previous point in which I was talking about networking and building relationships in the office. It is very important to do so because I would recommend to you that in every office, you should go and identify who are the directors, who are the people, who are the movers and the shakers, and most importantly, who are the desk officers that work to the benefit of what you want or what you need, and build relationships with them and keep it with them. Why? Because these three people that I called are the key people in every department. Because in every department, you will find that there's always going to be one desk officer who that person is always the one doing the imputing and computing. Then there are the movers and the shakers. What do I mean by that? The people in the department that are always willing to get things done, those that have their own influence over all their remaining colleagues, those that have a good relationship, someone that can even take you to his director and you people can talk openly and freely. And then the director, it's very important to discuss with the director because without the director sign off, you cannot get what you require. So you have to learn how to merge all of these relationships and to build with them. And I don't mean, and I apologize to all of our men, my fellow men on this call. I apologize in advance for what I'm about to say. But I also need you all I need we the men, I need us to listen to this as well and just hear me out. One of the best things that you can do for yourself working in the office or collaborating in the office is working with women. And why do I say work with women? Of course, not to say that there are not amazing men that you can work with. Oh, I'm not here to side with any one gender. But my case for saying work with women is statistically speaking, in an organization and in the workplace, you would find that women tend to work 2 or 3 times harder than the men, because unfortunately, especially in Nigeria, where we operate a system in where you see the men are always going to get more chances than women, or the women are being overlooked for the men. So the women always take it upon themselves to work 2 or 3 times harder than what a man in her position is doing, and she is willing to humble herself to learn more. And I've come to realize that it's a trait that I found in different offices. And I've come to realize that when working with women, you don't have that, I'm trying to find the word to phrase this. You don't find that heavy competition between, like you would find between two men working together on, oh, but me, I'm smarter, me, I'm better, me, I can do this, or what does this guy think I can? Mm-mm. Most of the times when you're going to interact and work with a lady, you're able to do your thing quickly. It's very seamless, and the lady in question is always interested in just two things: one, being recognized for the hard worker that she is, and secondly, if there's anything to share from the business that you have done or from the work that you have done, take her part and keep on going. She doesn't want any fuss, she doesn't want any hayania, for a lack of better words. And in conclusion, to wrap up and in conclusion, the final thing that I would like to be saying today before we move into the feedback part of this session is really, really, really teach your body to be grateful in all situations and to look for patience. Working in Nigeria, especially during these economic and political times, is one of the most abysmal. Sorry, I don't know why my English is hooking today. Is one of the most abysmally frustrating things that you can do. It's not easy. It's not nice. When you wake up every day, the price of dollar has gone, the price of petrol has gone up. You are basically even working just to be earning less. There's some people that it's unfortunate that at least half of their salary or 60% of their salary is now the money for transport to and fro from the house and to the work. So they're just going to work so that they can have money to transport themselves. It's not easy times. It's not easy times. And I would just say teach your body to be grateful in all situations and to look for patience, because even in those bad situations, you would come to realize that there's always something to look forward to and there's always something to give grace for. What do I mean? Sometimes you might come home, there may not be lights, there may not be food, there may not be even water. But at the end of the day, we may be in a position where even if it's not immediately available, we may be in a situation where, okay, we can buy some of these things, and maybe food and water can be bought and kept. You can't really buy electricity like that, or maybe you can turn on the gen. But just to give my point, there may not be all of these things, but at the end of the day, there may even be a roof to sleep under. That is something for you to give grace to God for. Because at the same time, your situation might not be the best, but there are a lot of people at the same situation that we find ourselves in that are doing worse. And that in itself is a reason for you to still look at God and say, God, thank you. God, I want better. God, I want bigger. God, I am grateful for what you have done, and I am content in the place in my life that you have put me now. But please give me the grace and the strength and the wisdom to be able to move forward and move to the next level. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to me today. I am very grateful to be able to address you, and I am very grateful to be able to share my insights with you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, wow, wow. Was that amazing or what? I picked a whole lot from your session, MB, and I'm just trying to pick one that I'm going to focus on right now. But if I'm to sum up what I heard, apart from telling us that it's better to work with women than to work with men, which I completely agree with, I must say that the best form of politics to play is the politics of value. Ensure that you are a man or a woman of value wherever you are. Ensure you are consistent As you build strategic networks and relationships, ensure that you set boundaries. I can go on and on and on and on. I don't want to make the assumption that I've even heard everything at once. I will certainly go back to this live stream and I will sit with it and mine out much more value from this engagement. MB, I would like to personally say thank you to you for being our partner, for collaborating with us on this project, for being a part of the CatSync family, and for being authentic. I love the fact that your methods were also very, very unconventional, and I'm not surprised at all. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining from across the world, if that session was truly impactful for you, I ask that you please make it rain in the chat room for our facilitator, the amazing Mr. Ibrahim Atiku Baguda Mohammad. Please, can you help me appreciate him and say a very big thank you from all of us here at the Career Acceleration Summit Studios here in the city of Abuja. We say a very, very big thank you once again for being so real, for being so authentic, and for telling us compelling stories that will help us navigate our career journey and to take us from the level we're currently at to the next level where we aspire to be. And I love the fact that you ended it with being people of faith, ensuring that we end and we continue our journey with gratitude, thanking God for where we are and praying and aspiring even to go higher and to go forward. I can't wait for the next session and for all of the amazing insights and engagements that will continue to unfold in this engagement. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Mohammad. We are truly, truly grateful for your sincerity and your openness. We'll go back for a short break. We will run a few adverts and you will see a very, very beautiful face that I'm sure you will like. That person, I won't tell you whether he's a he or she's a she, but trust me, you're going to get a whole lot of value from the next engagement. So fasten your seatbelt, keep it locked on this channel. Don't go anywhere because we certainly will be back with you with a whole lot more value. We'll be right back. Media team, please take it over from here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chiamaka Ukachukwu. I am the HR manager for Beauty and Fragrance. This is my review of the Train the Trainer program, July 2024. Okay, coming into this program, I did not have big expectations. I came there to learn, train the trainer. Someone mentioned something during the course of the training and said, as a trainer, and I resonated with it, that as a trainer, she had not received any training on how to train. She just used to train people, and I quite resonated with it. So coming into this program for me was just like, okay, you know what? Let me learn on how to train people rather than just go with what I know at the top of my head. So it was a wonderful experience for me. I know I said that it stretched me, and it stretched me in the sense that I'm a very competitive person. Well, not very, slightly competitive, so it stretched me in the area of meeting up with tasks because I don't like pending tasks. So it stretched me meeting up with my assignments, making out time for the classes, because it's the time when I have to close and all of that. So it stretched me in that, and also in my mind, like from the first day, the behavioral modification class, the attitudinal change class, to the, knowing how to present your slides, how to do your slide management. Then from the other doctor that taught us, Dr. Naomi, that taught us. And from the last day, every single experience, every single class had been experienced. Every single class was fantastic. I learned a lot, especially in the area of behavioral modification. I am actively implementing it in my work on a daily basis, how to own the room and how to recall the room, when you have lost the room. So it has been a wonderful experience for me. I'm grateful to the Council Consult team. I'm grateful to Coach Folake. You are a blessing. Thank you to my buddy, my TOT buddy, Israel. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your sharing your knowledge. Thank you to the entire team, to my fellow best graduating student, Tega. We did it. And to every single person that joined the training program for different companies, personally, individually, and all of that, I want to say thank you to everybody. You made the class wonderful, your contributions, your accolades, your corrections, everything. Knowing you people's story, knowing everybody's story, it was wonderful. I really appreciated it, and I thank you for this opportunity. Your own will not spoil. Thank you. I really thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time. It's been a fantastic time. Thank you. So much was learned, especially my personal branding. I learned a lot from my personal branding. It's something that I haven't really paid attention to, but knowing that I have a template on how to, work on my personal brand. I didn't think I'll come out with that. So I want to say thank you to the Council Consult team again, to Coach Folake. May the Lord bless you. Thank you all.
Wow. I don't have the right words. I'm telling you. I am so excited with how the summit is going. Oh my God. The 2 sessions this morning have been mind-blowing. Coach Tega, thank you for all you do. Thank you for bringing value in the area of emotional intelligence. MB, my special MB, Mohammad Atiku Baguda, thank you for that session. It was so practical. There were so many things you said that honestly resonates with me. I can see Dayo Akindutire. I hope I got that right. I can see your comment online, and we will be addressing it in the comment section. I particularly share MB's sentiments, maybe in the context of women who are emotionally intelligent. Yes, after listening to Coach Tega's session, but we'll discuss that a bit more in the panel session. I just jumped into the studio to let us know a bit more about some of the videos we just watched. This is our short break. Get some water to drink. Sit down with us as we explore some of the things we do at Council Consult. Our Upstart Business Retreat, can we have the flyer on the screen, will be holding in December in the city of Abuja and Lagos. Upstart 2025. We normally start our year early at our business retreats. It's meant for you to conceptualize. It's meant for you to strategize. It's meant for you to plan. It's meant for you to get the tools to step into the year like a boss level person that you are. So if you're a senior level executive, a mid-level executive, you are an entrepreneur, you are a business leader, Upstart Business Retreat is for you. For the city of Abuja, is going to be on the 6th and 7th of December. For Lagos, we will be in the city of Lagos on the 13th and 14th of December. If you are registering now, you're getting it at a discounted 170K residential. Did I mention that part? You're going to be spending the night at a beautiful exclusive location in both of these amazing cities. If you want more information about registration so that you're not paying 200K by the time we enter into November, call any of the numbers scrolling or send an email to info@captainconsult.com. We look forward to receiving you at the retreat. It's an exclusive retreat. It's not for everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not for everybody. Because it's going to be intensive. If you are struggling with articulating your year as a professional, as an entrepreneur, those are the people we're looking for in the room. We're going to get down to it, break mind blocks around money, around processes, around systems, around you and your personality, and of course, your limiting beliefs. We're going to have strategic planning meetings that you can implement going into 2025. Secondly, for our newbies in the building, or you're a mid-level person, we have a program that is specifically designed for you. Can you flash the flyer very quickly? It's going to help you step into your career in a new light as we step into 2025. Our career mentoring and placement program. You saw some of the videos of our past trainings, and I can tell you that those people giving you feedback are top executives in various organizations. Trust me. So if you are looking to be placed in an organization of your dreams, the door to it is right in front of you. Some of you don't have what it takes, not because you are not intelligent, but you don't know how to show up in the room. The mentoring program will help you with packaging yourself across board in terms of your work ethics, your work values, your career perception, your entrepreneurial positioning, and so many other things you need to be placed with our top client list. That is why if you have not registered for this event and you are watching without not registering or dropping your CV, you're not doing yourself any good. It's a discounted program. It's starting in January 2025, and it's a 1-month intensive. If you want to register before we step into the new year, it will cost you just 50K. Once we step into December, it is 70K. So call any of those numbers scrolling so that you can register now and let us help you. Trust me, we're helping you. Yeah, we're helping you. And we're committed to that. That is why we brought you this summit for free. A 250K masterclass. Yes. And this time with 12 speakers instead of 2 or 3 that we normally do for 2 days. Free of charge. So any of these programs, get yourself into it and let's move on to the next level of becoming in our careers. Let's take off in 2025. We're going to take a short video just to get you to water yourself, get some water, as we take our last speaker for today and we go into the panel session. Stay with us and stay glued.
Everything that I manifest at this level, I dreamt it.
Many of us have businesses. We are using our personal salary to fund it, or we are using it from our husband to fund it. Could you now?
Hello, welcome back. I hope we've been able to gather all the information that we need to. So I'll be introducing our next speaker for this session before our panel session. His name is Mr. Akinwunmi Akinola. He will be speaking on adapting to change, the future of work and career evolution. Sorry. Okay, so Mr. Akinwunmi would be coming on shortly. I'll read his profile, and after that, you would hear his voice. Akinwunmi Akinola is a development professional and management expert with over 15 years of experience. His expertise is invested in strategy, evidence generation, knowledge management, social and behavioral science. He is the behavioral insights lead at a think tank which supports design and improvement of public policies, products and services using lessons from behavioral insights. Akin holds a master's degree in public health. He is an author of 3 books, Psychospirituality, Inhumane and Corporate Guts. Welcome with me to the stage, Mr. Akinwunmi. It's a pleasure to have you with me. You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Can you
hear me?
Okay. Yes, we can. We can.
Okay.
Can
Thank
we
you
have
for having me.
Mr. Akinwunmi in the comment section, please? Let's welcome him. The emoji claps and everything. You're welcome. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Katzin Consult and team, for inviting me. It's such an honor. I've been following through the entire conversation, and it feels actually very relatable, very experiential. I mean, the lineup, I can tell you boldly that the lineup of speakers that you've had or that you will still have in the course of the summit is fantastic and rare to come by. And that's not to flatter, that's just to say that this is real quality, and I say when I mean that. Thank you so much for putting this together, and it's my pleasure to be here. My name is Akinwunmi Akinola, and a brief about myself, apart from what I have, the way I have been introduced. I just had a baby about a month ago. I think that's one thing to know about me. So right now I'm babysitting. I'm learning the trades, even though this is my second. But I mean, that is to say that in life and in what I'll be speaking lightly about, we go through transitions and we go through phases. So I would be speaking about adapting to change, the future of work and career evolution. Adapting to change, the future of work and career evolution. And the topic already is self-explanatory, but just to speak to that, change is constant. Many of us are familiar with that. However, when it comes to work and career, things evolve very fast. And so if you either are proactive or you are playing catch up. And you need to always ask yourself that question: am I proactive in my approach or in my industry, or I'm trying to play catch up, right? And that is not even necessarily talking about smart work and hard work, which we will still come to, but it's very important to know that things move very fast, and you will go through change in life, even in the trajectory of your career, or even in how in the way and manner in which things are done in your industry that you will need to adapt to. And the question is, are you being proactive about that, or are you just trying to play catch up? At the end of this conversation, you should be able to answer that question. Next. Okay. I will tell you, or I will give you 6 major things that are very important in disrupting work and describing or predicting what the future of the work will look like. And the first one around it is technology. Technology is a disruptor. We know that. And in this time and age where automation is just displacing a lot of processes and a lot of things that human beings will have either done, you will find that technology can actually replace what you call your work. And so it's important to understand that because of the advancement in technology with new things like generative artificial intelligence right now and drone technology and all of these things, they have the capacity to change how we work, right? And so if you look through, I'm going to refer you to the pandemic period, for instance, specifically COVID-19, and you find that technology was what held the work industry or the knowledge industry or the work environment at that time. Otherwise, without technology, it would have been difficult to keep your turnover, your revenues coming in, and even be able to have an effective running of your company organization in that period, because that pandemic disrupted a lot of things, including how we work. So technology and automation is going to change a lot of things. I don't think that 10, 15 years ago, we had people you call drone pilots, right? I don't think that. So technology, robotics, artificial intelligence, they are going to displace a lot of things. So that is one of the main disruptors that predicts, that determines the current way things and manner in which things are done, and the future of how things will be done. I was just reading, and I'll give you a typical example. I was just reading, because I do a lot of behavioral insights using mining data to inform behavior and predictive analysis. I was just reading, but you see, when you do research, what you do is to observe patterns and trends and be able to synthesize and make very good judgments from it. But I was just reading, I think between yesterday and now, how you can, that there's a technology that now helps you to investigate behavioral patterns of people who are even extinct. So you are doing time series or behavioral patterns of my great grandfathers, and how that has been consistent over the years, right? How that has even informed so talk about intergenerational behavior change. That is something that technology is enabling. Otherwise, these people are dead. They are not here for us to ask questions and interview and to be able to synthesize data from. So these things are disrupting how things are done, including how I even do my own work. Otherwise, imagine if I had to collect, and there are a lot of ways. I just spoke about my own work. There is what you call, for instance, social listening. Apart from even using technology to harvest data and conduct research, there are many ways in which technology has shaped how I do the work that I do. So the first one is technology and automation. The second one is information oversaturation, and that also builds on the first one. So if you look at it right now, people binge on information virtually every minute or every 10 minutes. So you will find that an average person will check his or her phone at least, and these are some of the things you can actually check online, at least 20 times a day. So if you take a look at that and the amount of information that is on the internet, I mean, I know there are extremes of it, that things that should not even be on the internet that are there, which I will still speak about. But if you look at it, the saturation of information on the internet makes it the go-to place for learning, right? But it also endangers how work is done and the quality of work that we do. So, for instance, in academia right now, you find softwares that helps you to, determine or detect mimicry, what you call plagiarism. Otherwise, originality will be lost. So that is one of the things that is going to, and there are a lot of industries that are affected in that entire value chain. It's not just about knowledge industry, communications, branding. So if you talk about online reputation management right now, you know what it costs even to pay somebody to manage a damaged reputation online. That's big. That is big. Misinformation and disinformation is big. It's big industry, right? So these are things that are going to shape the future of work, right? Also limited attention. So increasingly, because of the amount of information that we have to deal with, the attention of people, and this is not just about work, this is just evolution of human beings generally, that attention span is reducing by the day. And that has a lot of implication and meaning for how you do your work and the future of what industry you play at is. So limited attention, what it means typically, for instance, is that 10 years ago, if you needed to brand, beyond all the branding rules and you want to put something on a billboard, right? White space, all of those things you talk about when you want to do branding. Beyond all of that, it means that the time it takes for you to read information on a billboard while driving along Citygate, right? For many of you don't know Citygate. Citygate is in Abuja, we're in Nigeria, or I am in Nigeria. What it means is that that time 10 years ago and now has shrunk. So you don't have the luxury of time that it takes to do the things that you would expect your client or your customer to take time and listen and be patient and all that. People don't have those kind of time again, and that time is now becoming a luxury. So limited time and attention is something that is disrupting the future. But I would tie all of this into how it affects your own specific industry. Emotions, wellness, and lifestyle. So you see, I talked about pandemic the other time, and so many people were stuck at home with their laptops and connecting digitally, and had, because of the lockdown, there was restriction on how much in social interaction you could have. There was restriction around how much of even exercise you could do outside your home. Also, you see that you are spending more time doing more sedentary work. And then, if you're in the office, you take a stroll out, and research says that even after every 1 hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 50 minutes of serious, intensive cognitive work, you should take a stroll, right? You should take a stroll. You should have regular breaks. It helps to reset your mind. But that is an aside. The point I'm making is, because of things like pandemic and all of the disruptions that we are having, hybrid work, you see that emotions, wellness, and lifestyle is affecting the future of work. I can tell you organizations in Nigeria, of course, they are international organizations right now, that just the pandemic era already, from the way they managed their workforce at that time, and because the staff were already used to remote working, it took them a lot to get them back to work on site. And the reason for that is not far-fetched. So when there was remote work, a lot of them actually relocated outside of the country. They could afford it. It's one of the top 3 industries in Nigeria. They relocated out of the country. And so whether it's on the premise of their wife, their children, a lot of people adduce or attribute their traveling migration reasons to that. But that's not the only reason why people migrate. But point I'm trying to make is, because the staff were already used to that, it was difficult to say, come back to the office to work. And so when the organization saw that, there wasn't any reason to work remotely again, and called them in, they chose to either work remotely or opt out of the company. And so it was a crisis for them, because they lost a lot of staff. And then when they saw that they were losing a lot of staff, they now had to have a meeting to see how to manage that. And that's disrupting how work is being done, right? So that concept of remote work has its own transcendent implications. It has implications on your emotions and wellness. You get vulnerable and predisposed to cardiovascular, non-communicable diseases and all of that. But because lifestyle is important in work, people are now choosing the type of work that they want, especially if their experience hires. So people are not just interested in very good pay. People are now interested. So if you want to hire me right now, much more than how much the ballpark figure is, I'm interested in the structure of work. It's a big deal. And if you are getting hired, even at entry level, even though you may not have a lot of negotiation power, you should be interested in what is the structure of work. It is very, very important. Very, very important. So wellness is determining what work people take and how work is being done. Very important. The fifth one is globalization. And I will add as addendum to that, migration and visibility. So a couple of days back, we're doing some analysis in the office, and I was asking the business case of, well, it wasn't about asking the business case of journalists. Well, we wanted to hire a journalist to MC an event. And when we saw the rate card of that journalist, and when I say the rate card, now it's not even our rate card, but previous works that he has done, we were astounded. Like, really, this is much more than his monthly salary. And it's not supposed to be a big deal, but if you look at the business case of it, a journalist has more visibility than an average person. It has more followership than an average person because you get to see them every day. There's that top of mind awareness. And so there's a flavor that adds to them emceeing or comparing your event. And so that becomes an attraction to have them MC your event. However, there's the business case of them working in that TV station or in that radio station is beyond their pay pocket. It is around the visibility that it gives to them and the branding that it gives to them. And so if you are doing your work right now, regardless of what industry you are in, and you are not interested in globalization, and by globalization, I will start just breaking it down by thinking about how you do your work. Is it, does it align with global best practice, right? Can you compete favorably with your counterparts abroad, internationally? I mean, last year I went to the UK and just presenting some of our own work in my organization with the corollary of our organization in the UK, like a replica of our organization in the UK that started in the cabinet office of the Prime Minister. They were very impressed about how we work, and they accepted that the complexity of behavior in Nigeria is tougher than in the UK. I mean, you will want to say behavior is behavior, but when you are dealing with complex behavior like corruption, you will know that you have a lot of use cases to bring home your point. And so that's a typical example. Just doing an exchange program and just cross-fertilizing ideas and saying that it's not just about the global appeal that gives you. It gives you a global reckoning that you're a global citizen and your work has a global acclaim. I went to and please, this is not to brag. So when I do mention, I'm not trying to do name dropping and all of that. I think it was Portugal last year, and the presentation we had was around Nigeria election. So another person could have looked at that work and feel that, oh, we just wanted to use it for policy work with government stakeholders, with INEC and all of that. But I saw this and I said, this is what hearing globally. And I applied to an international conference and the abstract got selected. So these are globalization first starts from your mind. So you could be in Nigeria and have several organizations you are working for in the UK, in the US, and what have you. So there are even platforms right now that without having a paid employment, literally in Nigeria, you could log on to and outsource your brand of service. There are many of them. And so there are many outsourcing platforms that you just register, do your update your profile, and also it's important to mention that you have to build a traction or history of working on that platform for you to get good gigs. But you can get a lot of gigs on those platforms and you are paid in dollars, right? So that's a globalization mindset, right? Migration is part of the agenda of globalization, because without people mingling and co-mingling, you won't have international trade actually. But let's now break it and bring it local. Your visibility. I was telling my wife yesterday, I said, within your organization, how many people are aware of your competencies beyond your immediate line manager? That is going to, so imagine you are working with a line manager, you are working remotely. The person sees your work, but your manager's manager also needs to verify your demonstrated competence. And so you need to think in that direction about globalization, migration, and visibility. They shape how you do work in what the next word is going to be like. If there's anything like that, permit me to use that, right? So I have a colleague, or I have a friend right now, that when she came into Abuja, she actually, I gave her an internship, a volunteer role. And from the volunteering, of course, she became a consultant to us. And from consultancy, she got interested in consultancy. It became more attractive to her than full-time employment. So using the consultancy experience she garnered with us, she got other consultancies. By the time she got 3 consultancies back to back, she resolved in her heart that she was not going to do full-time employment again. Of course, coupled with the fact that she also was nursing a child at that time. But right now, the person I'm talking about has 3 consultancy assignments working for international organizations, with many of them even offering her full-time employment, which means that if they gave her full-time employment, likelihood also would be that she will continue to earn in dollars. But for all of these organizations, she's earning in dollars and pluralizing her skills. I will talk about that in the last slide. Pluralizing her skills and spreading it across these 3 organizations. So why would she not be richer than me? Of course, you would argue there are pros and cons to that anyway, but I'm telling you that a lot of, so you need to change your mindset from the usual 9 to 5 kind of work, or the usual I work strictly with this organization. You should think, when you work, when you have an equity in an organization, you are a worker of that organization. You work with that organization. Have you thought about being a non-executive director in an organization? Have you thought about the entire pathways that brings in money into an organization without you being a full-time employee of that organization? So there's a lot of ways to work right now that you don't need to limit yourself to a typical 9 to 5, right? And then the last one is around population and demography. So I looked at how much, so I observed the pattern in proliferation of creches and daycare centers and primary schools in the area where I live. And I try to situate it within the context of the country. The median age in Nigeria, for instance, is 17.5. So approximately, let's just say 18. It means that if you find the average age of the entire population of Nigeria, it is 18. You can't be thinking about the future of work and not be interested in population dynamics. There's what you call the youth bulge. Why do you think, I was telling my colleagues in the course of the week that, do you know how many companies come to Nigeria to do product testing because we are a mass market? But beyond us being a mass market, our behavioral pattern is quite, our purchasing, and trading behavioral patterns are quite interesting. They are a bit complex. So you find that we are, apart from our numbers, we are an attraction to big players, particularly in product and service design, for these reasons. So population demography, you cannot kid. If I ask you the biggest churches in Nigeria right now, they are the churches that have the youth demographics. You can debate that, but let's even say that is an emerging trend and pattern that is not visible enough. But if you give it another 5-10 years, you will see that there are the churches that have complete plan for their youth and young population. They have a complete plan. So you will see churches even having model parishes. You will see you will say that is audience segmentation, but what you call audience segmentation is informed by population growth and dynamics. And I can explain that in a lot of ways. And that even determines what country is interested in migration, or what country is immigration, and what country is not interested in immigration. So you see, go and observe the population dynamics of places like Canada, for instance, right? And see their reproductive rate. You will find that in the next 10 years, if they stop taking immigrants, they won't have enough population, skilled population, to man the level of productivity that country needs, right? So it is important that when you want to consider or even imagine what the future will look like in your work, you think about globalization, migration, you think about population. So you see the reason why a lot of care work is very attractive, or is very, I don't think attractive is the right word. I think it's very common in foreign countries, is because they have a shrinking population. So while we have a growing population, so average number of children you want to have in the US or in the Nordic countries is like 2 to 3, max 3. In the Nordic countries, is even like 2 children averagely. In fact, many of them are even saying that they don't want to have children again right now. Compared to the average, what you call the total fertility rate of Nigeria, I think the last time I checked, it was around 5.3. So let's even say 5. That is a huge gap, right? Which means that our young population board, has a lot of implication on what the future of work will be. It has implication of what employment and unemployment will be in the next 10 years. It has implication on why, if we don't think about globalization and harnessing all the people that are traveling out for industrialization in Nigeria, we are going to be in a deep quagmire, like deep mess. How do you have a growing population that is faster than your GDP growth? Your growing population is faster than your GDP growth. That's a big problem, right? So this is going to shape the future of work. If you think about this, because population determines demand and supply ultimately. So it's important that you pay attention to that. I've given you examples of why care work, for instance, care for the elderly is quite attractive. Well, not attractive, but it's in demand in those countries because they have a shrinking population. They have elders that need to be tended to, right? So this is very, very important, and these things determine how work is going to be. They will determine how work will be done in the future. Take, for instance, technology and how project management can help you to harness multidisciplinary skill, even digitally, like online. Do you have Jira? Do you have, so there are many productivity softwares that I don't even, Jira rather. There are many productivity softwares that you should be thinking about right now, especially if you work across different time zones. If you are working, you have colleagues across, Asia, Europe and all of that. These are very, very important things to pay attention to. I'm being mindful of time, so I'm going to skip this agile methodology. But what I was going to say there is that you have to be nimble, you have to be able to adapt to these changing times and seasons that we've talked about, occasioned by all of those 6 things that I highlighted in the previous slide. So you would also find that increasingly people will have to choose where they want to work from and the structure of their work, where they want to work from and the structure of their work. This is because, yes, I agree, this is not an absolute statement. You will still have people who have to come to the office to work. You still have to have, there are occupations that are external facing, that are client facing. You still have to do that, right? So we're not saying this is a complete replacement. We are saying that because of the demands of the time, people are also now self-selecting to do hybrid work. So at interview level, people are already asking, can I have an option to work remotely? Or can I, do you have flexi work patterns, maybe 2 days on site, 3 days online? So these are things that are shaping the future of work, having virtual and digital offices and all of that. So imagine that the work you do right now if you are particularly you are in Nigeria, I want you to just pause and reflect. What will that work mean if you reside in Europe or North America? What will that work mean? And by what will it mean? Will it be relevant? Will it be useful? Will it be in demand? Very important. Will it be in demand? If you take it outside of the shores of Abuja, maybe we should not even go global now, and we take it to Lagos, will it still be in demand? Or we take it to somewhere like Kano or Katsina or Kafancha, will it be in demand? Right? So it's important to think about this. There will be oversaturation of information. I've talked about that. There will be oversaturation. So generative AI is changing things. So this entire conversation we are having right now, if you are having it on Teams, I don't know if this has that enabled feature. If you are doing this on Teams, you have AI assistants that will already document this for you. You don't need to take notes. So there are AI assistants for many of the productivity softwares and online meetings, right? So there'll be oversaturation of information. Knowledge will increase, but because knowledge is increasing and that information environment is becoming saturated, you would also have a lot of gross abuse of it. So you will see a lot of emerging fields like AI governance, like ethical governance, digital ethical governance, and all of that because of that entire disruption, right? You will have a lot of more roles around policy and regulatory industry because they will, of necessity, have to regulate, the overwhelming saturation of information that they do have. Otherwise, when something does not have a structure, you are obviously going to have result in a chaos, right? I'm being mindful of time. I would really like to spend more time on these last two slides. This is the first one, and then I'll move to the next one. So if you look at all of these things we've talked about, one thing that is very important is that you would have to adapt. But while talking about adaptation, which is a subset of change management, I don't want to leave you in the lurch or in the darkness, because all of this contemplation is not just theoretical. You have to be able to bring it to life. And if you bring it to life, I'm talking about real-time experience. So you're asking yourself, for instance, if I go to Canada, if I go to UK, or if I choose to remain even in Nigeria, or if I choose to stay in my job, or if I choose to pivot to another industry entirely, what will it mean for my essence? In other words, I'm trying to strike a balance between what is important to be done, that is in demand in the industry, and as a future, like we have talked about, the future of some industries look brighter than some other industries, right? But I don't want to just jump at it because it's the next thing, it's the future. I also want to keep my essence, because your sanity comes from that. Your balance comes from that. Your longevity and resilience in that industry comes from that, not your skill set, not your knowledge. What keeps you going in an industry are more internally driven, what you call internal locus of control. So I would talk briefly about what you call the Ikigai, a Japanese concept meaning a reason for being. And it is very, very important and it's very helpful. So if you look at these cycles, you see that there is a concentration at a point, and you see that there are layers, like double fold layers at some point. But if you look at the topmost one, you can situate yourself and ask, what exactly do you love? I'm saying this in the context of I know there are people here who probably are even trying to make choices and decisions around career trajectory and paths and all of that. And that argument and dilemma between my passion, my ambition, my vision, and all of the terminologies we use for these things. And it's very important and sane to have those hard, honest conversations to say, if the business, if the what I'm passionate about does not have a future in Nigeria, where does it have a future? What is my transition plan? How do I get there? Before I get there, what do I do? So yes, it's good to, I'm staying on the first cycle right now that says what you love. So if you ask yourself what you love, it's a very important ingredient in career. It's very important. I can't overemphasize how important it is for you to love what you do or do what you love. However, you also need to ask what the world needs. So asking yourself that question, what you love, sometimes the world does not need what you love. Or let me put it this way, better put, the world does not prioritize or place so much value around what you love. Sometimes what you love is not the need, so to speak. Sometimes even within your geography. So these things can be regional variations. It can be more useful to apply that thing you love outside the country. So you can't totally condemn migration. You can't even condemn migration on the premise of this analysis. Like, destiny is geography sensitive. Occupation, profession is also geography sensitive. There are some professions. I mean, people would say if you study sociology, it's not so attractive. But if you do, or anthropology, but there are some countries that if you do anthropology, you are a hot cake, like hot cake. When I say hot cake, it's attractive in terms of your pay pack, in terms of the value and premium they place on you. So yes, we agree that there are regional variations in the perception of value on different professions and occupations. But you need to ask yourself, even if you love something, does where you have what you do, is there a premium on it? Is it valued? And by being valued, is there a commensurate return on investment by you playing in that industry? If there is none, then you need to recheck it, right? And then what you can be paid for, is it something? So if you are lucky that what you love is in high need and you can be paid for it, fantastic. But it's not always that straitjacketed in many circumstances, right? Can you be paid for it? If you cannot be paid for it, sometimes it's good that you pay attention to what you can be paid for as a primary occupation, as a secondary occupation before your own primary occupation. So you move from that to what your core essence is, right? And then what you are good at. I won't talk so much about what you are good at because you can literally develop skills and competencies in any area so it's a matter of time investment and expertise and all of, there are a lot of variations there, but you can develop competencies at any level. So if you look at the intersection of what you love and what you need, you call it mission. Look at the intersection of what the world needs and what you can be paid for, you call it vocation. So you could have vocational temporal journey that leads to your core essence, right? The world needs it, it can be paid for. It is so for instance, I have had to do some things that they don't connect to my essence, but it is highly in need and people paid for it. For instance, I did some consulting for some community. Let me just put it that way. Some community. I don't like to work with that community. It's not one of my core priorities, but I have skill set for it. And they even came calling to say, oh, they're here, I can do this, and asked if I could do it. And I charged good enough money to. So that can be a transient journey that you call vocation, right? An intersect between what you are good at and what you can be paid for can be called profession, because you are good at it and you can be paid for it. And you can see that all of this does not exclude the fact that it's possible that you still love it. So if you are lucky, let me put it that way, if you are lucky to have all of these nexuses together, fantastic, good for you. But you can route your way from one path to the other. I think that is what is important for this. So essence is very important in transiting career and building resilience in the new career. Okay, so finally, because of time, there are some specific steps that you can take to adapt to change. In this case right now, evolution of your career. It is important that, number one, you learn very fast. You must be a copious learner. And I'll give myself as an example, right? I've done a lot of research work, but in my first life, I have done a lot of management consulting work. So you will see the beauty of my first life, my second life, and even my third life that I'm going into now. So my first life, I did a lot of consulting work, and I'm using those consulting work even in my second life. My first life is majorly invested in consulting. My second life is heavily invested in research, operations research, and programming, what you call development work to be precise, right? And you'll find that just leveraging the experience that I had in consulting, I'll give you a typical way that these things work. So while I was in business, while I was in management consulting, I've always had a lot of clients complaining about staff turnover. In fact, I wanted to train an organization at the time. I think it was a restaurant, and I already had their buy-in, but their manager told me that there is one holdback. What is it? He said that the turnover is very high, and they don't give notices. So you find that someone you just hired last week, you just see his or her tag on the floor the next day, and you hear that the person has moved, regardless of whether you keep their money or not. Anyway, salary for that month or not. So that was a peculiar problem that I saw that was salient in especially the MSME community, coming from business consulting. So when I went into research and I started playing with data, and I had a data set around to explore concepts around turnaround time, employee motivation, HR, performance management systems. I experimented with the data, I wrote abstracts. Guess what? Those abstracts were accepted in 4 global conferences. So much that, anyway, let me leave the backyard story, but it created a ripple effect within the organization. The country director got wind of it, invited me, had a conversation, and that was how I got hired in that organization, actually. So I brought the experience of one industry into another industry, just exploring the data, because that problem statement already was in my mind from my experience working in business community, right? So you must be able to learn fast, unlearn and relearn. That's where I'm going. In other words, what you call the start, stop, continue analysis. So if I ask you right now, given the 6 features that I gave at the preceding slide, what actions or what things do you do right now that you think that you should stop doing in the context of those questions that I asked, or that first slide? Context of globalization, context of migration, think about context of population growth and all of those things. It's very important, right? So learn fast, unlearn and relearn. Very important. What do you need to stop doing that you think that this is not the future? We can't be doing work like this. I can give you a typical example in the current work that I do. So typically in the work that I do, you will do a post-research post-study report, which means that you have like 100-page something report for a program or something, and then you now do PowerPoint presentation. And then I told them my own unit in my organization supports strategy and innovation, right? And I just did an innovation course in Harvard. So I said it just totally is counterintuitive to all that I know. And so we changed from just duplicating that kind of effort to finding a midline. In other words, we would have a PowerPoint deck that can suffice for both a report and a PowerPoint presentation. So we don't duplicate that effort again. That is strategy. You can't continue because it's a lot of time investment. If you are going to do it in billable hours, that's wastage of resources, right? So what do you need to start? And when we did that, it came out beautifully, so much that my boss adopted it for every other unit, that this is our reporting template for now. You don't need to be duplicating efforts again, right? So do your start, stop, continue analysis. What is working for you in your organization as an individual? What is working for you as an organization in your industry? Very important. Start, stop, continue analysis, right? Second thing, be intentional about growth. Right now, we are not even, we are in the last quarter, but right now we're already populating a training plan for next year. With what that means is that you already must have identified training programs or conferences that you want to attend. You already must have registered for them and put a cap on the figure, right? So that you can make that proposal to the management and they approve. So that's intentionality. So you can't wait till December and say, 2025, what do I want to do? No. You heard about the upstart. So if you are yet to register for the upstart, and I like the fact that upstart is not happening in January, right? Because you plan, that is not even the next best time to plan. It's late. We should be talking about, so for instance, I am thinking even my transition plan for my current organization. And there's no hiding in it. In fact, I'm speaking I'm speaking boldly this way because these things are not things that people hide again. I was outstanded when I heard that Daystar Christian Center had a 25-year career leadership succession plan. So leadership succession plan is not a typical example you will look at is Tony Elumelu in Nigerian setting. So leadership succession planning is not what you should even be hiding and be thinking about, maybe people will compromise their loyalty and all of that. You won't die in your organization. Let me use that raw word. So those are not things that we should be hiding. I guess that is a signal that my time is up, right? So I would pause there so that we can accommodate questions. It's also good to just keep to time. But we can share the slides so that you can just internalize these things and just ask yourself the questions. Be intentional, grow, be nimble, right? Don't just assume and plan and prepare. It's not just that things happen or life happens to you. You have to be very intentional about it. You have to grow, be intentional about the growth. These things are very, very, very important. I think I'll put a pause there so that I'm considerate of other things that need to happen in the summit. Thank you so much.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Akinwunmi Akinola, for sharing your wealth of wisdom with us so generously today. One beautiful thing about the Career Acceleration Summit is that it evokes quality questions. Yeah. Insightful discussions that evoke quality questions. The moment you ask if the skills that I currently have and the work that I do can be translated into another country, and if it will still be relevant, if it will still be useful, I began to ask myself a lot of questions. Yeah. And I must say a big thank you. Your session for me did sum up a whole lot of things. Having a global mindset, understanding that what you do spans beyond the nucleus of where you live currently, and that there is so much more that you can still achieve from where you are. You don't have to have a green card before you are able to do amazing things. Your story about how your abstract got into different countries and got you a lot of visibility, making Nigeria proud, is such an inspiring story. And we say a very, very big thank you. And we must say congratulations to you from all of us here at the Career Acceleration Summit family on the arrival of your new baby. We are so happy. Thank you also for being a part of the Career Acceleration Summit journey from 2017 until date. I remember seeing your picture in that throwback video from way back, and I must confess and admit that you have truly grown and increased in capacity over the years. And I think that is a shared value for us as well at Katzin Consult. So we say a very, very big thank you to you, Mr. Akinwunmi Akinola, for expanding our minds, helping us to understand that we can be and actually do more. And thank you so much once again. We are truly grateful from all of us here at the Career Acceleration Summit Studios, both on-site and those joining us virtually. Everyone online, please make it rain. Thank you so much for dropping your comments. Let Mr. Akinwunmi Akinola know that we truly do appreciate him. I'd like to request that the media team please bring back on stage Coach Tega Omogor and Mr. Mohammad Baguda our earlier panelists for the 2 sessions we had earlier for us to take their questions. We have harvested a lot of questions from the live stream. Coach Tega, we see you. Thank you for standing with us and for joining us back again. We're truly, truly grateful. Shokwe Oluyemi, we'll see you join us live from the United Kingdom. We appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of this family. Mazi, Mr. Emeka Monu, we see you as well. Thank you for joining us. If you're yet to introduce yourself, don't forget to connect. Don't forget to let us know what you do and where you're joining us from across the world. It is important that you not only take knowledge away from here, but you also connect with other amazing professionals who are joining us from across the world as we do great things together. I wrote a note to myself yesterday and I said, by this time next year, I'm coming back to the Career Acceleration Summit 10 times in the minimum better than where I am currently. And that is what this summit is all about. So because we just concluded with Coach Akinola's session, I would like for us to begin with a question that Shokwe Oluyemi dropped on the live feed for him. And I think it will be a good place to start since that is still very, 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 very fresh in our memory. Atinuke, do you want to take the question that
yes.
Shokwe dropped?
Mr. Akin, she asked, how do one combine or merge these multiple skills into one niche? Is it even possible? I mean, creating a brand from diverse skill sets that could be a brand on their own. So having multiple skill sets and bringing it into one niche, is it possible? And how can someone do that?
Okay, thank you so much. So that this is a very interesting question I get asked a lot of time. I, for one, have plurality of skills. And the last slide is one of the points that I've written in that last slide, that you should pluralize your skills. In consulting, we call it range, right? And when I got into my current role, I realized that it wasn't just me. My current CEO will lock himself up for 1 entire month and study in a year, regardless, right? Just to build that plurality of knowledge. So it is helpful, but in terms of branding, it is not so. So you could, what you are known for, to be called or invited to the table for. So what I advise people is that you build the multiplicity and plurality of skills and expand your knowledge base, because that is what keeps you there. But what you will be known for, you would have to identify one of those areas that you think that you are comfortable being known for, doesn't conflict with your values and your philosophy. I mean, there are people who would never take up a political appointment in Nigeria because they feel that it is going to be totally contrary to the philosophy of what they want to do in the future, right? So it's possible that things like that happen, but I think it's a matter of choice. But in considering those choices, it's helpful to look at the pathways that give you the most visibility and help to strike that balance. It gives you visibility, it gives you good enough reward that you are not begging hand, cap in hand, and it also helps you to it gives you the kind of gratification being known for that thing. But what happens is that it's a funnel. Once that plural, you start from that base, once you get to the top and you are visible, people will invite you to do several other things that have always hitherto been in your kitty but are not known to people. So in terms of branding, I think it's a matter of choice. Just choose one that you will be known for, build your visibility at that point, and you can be invited to do a lot of other things. Over.
Fantastic. I can't agree less. I'm also someone who believes in building a career portfolio where you have a potpourri of skills, because I found that in my career journey, a lot of the skills that I learned in my earlier days, I find them connecting in my journey. So I love what you said about ensuring that you build depth. However, you're known for something, such as you have brand consistency across your digital footprint. Yeah. I recall being on an interview panel where we got a CV to review and we went to check the applicant's profile picture on social media. Trust me, we didn't even bother shortlisting that candidate because the image we saw was not consistent with the AI generated CV that we just received. So it's very, very important. And I'm being very honest here. It's very, very important that we need to ensure build depth, build capacity. However, being known for one thing, build that funnel and ensure that you're known for one thing. And as you begin to scale and grow in your personal branding, ensure that you have that brand consistency and alignment. And I cannot but just say a very big thank you to you for sharing your perspective so generously. Make it rain in the live chat. If you were to pay for this value, trust me, in today's money, 250,000 naira. I wanted to say dollars for a minute. It's small money, trust me. So thank you so much to our amazing facilitators. We're truly happy. We have a rich faculty of like minds who are growing together and who are willing to share knowledge here with this community and this family. Please, if you're yet to get people in the room, if you get to share this link with them, the link is still up both for day one, morning and evening session. Make sure you share with everyone who needs to hear it. Coach Tega, this is for you. And it's a very interesting question. It says, how do you balance assertiveness with emotional intelligence when communicating with a supervisor or a client? This is me. This is how I am. My voice is very loud and I can talk anyhow I like. How do I balance it when I am speaking to my client or my supervisor? Is there a balance? Is there a place to draw the line, or can I just speak anyhow I like? Over to you, Coach T.
Okay, you know the honest truth. When we know that, when people say that I can talk anyhow that I like, it's because they haven't they've not met someone that they need something from. Because all of us are humble when we need something from someone and we need to speak to the person. Even children. My son is 2 years old, 2 years and 6 months. When he wants to get something, when you tell him to do stuff, okay, like we got to school yesterday, carried a toy, and then his father said, take it back, put it in the car. He said, no, I want. I said, no. And his teacher told him, Kosiana, take it back. He went back and dropped it. We always know when we have a person of authority or a person who we need something from, and automatically that's thermostat in your brain that just goes off and says you can be as you like. You align yourself. So if you don't know how to, what you need to do is just tell yourself that at this time, I need recommendation from this client, or I need promotion from my supervisor, and I need to behave myself. You can actually apply that. I don't know why I'm echoing. So you can actually apply that even in your day-to-day life. One of the things we tell people is, when you want to deal with someone, think about your in-laws. Is that your mother-in-law that you're going to meet, or your father-in-law? How would you speak to them? Apply it in your life with your client. Someone you need to impress.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. No, it's better now. The feedback is better. The audio is better now. So thank you, Coach. I can't agree less. I completely agree with you on that. This also brings to mind another panel interview session that I was on, where a client had made it successfully to the final stage of the interview, and I referenced a few other places where he had worked. And the chief executive of the organization said, don't worry, I know every CEO, every line manager that you listed in your CV, and I'm going to engage them to see whether your character reference and your professional record actually does align. So it's important to do things with perspective in mind, with foresight. It's important to know that as you're engaging with that supervisor, you never know. You probably might need. I've had costs when requesting for my transcript to still go back to my uni and speak to my lecturer in the university. People don't forget how you make them feel. They don't forget how professional you were while engaging with them. So it's important that we keep all of this in mind. Thank you so much, Coach C, for that amazing insight that you shared. MB, this is for you. I will address this to you, and I need you to please help us to navigate this very complex question. In your session, you said one of the best ways to play politics is just to be a person of value. I have value. I believe I have value. However, my personality type doesn't seem to be the one that likes office politics at all. How can I begin my journey of being visible and communicating my value to my world, especially before those who are my superiors and should be my sponsors or my promoters? That's for you, MD.
I love this question. Thank you very much. Well, first of all, let me start by saying that it's not easy to break your shell. It's not easy to leave your comfort zone and start a new journey. But like I said earlier, what must one prioritize? Consistency. Whether you like it or not, you cannot escape office politics. It will find its way. So you must find a way to put yourself above and ahead of the situation. What do I mean by that? And this references what I spoke about earlier, learning to understand people emotional intelligence. You need to find a way to start cozying up to people and make yourself feel relatable to them. What do I mean? If you realize that, okay, I have a bunch of colleagues that are my age mates, and there's a certain issue that they like, or there's a certain office joke, find a way to start creating and cuddling a relationship with them. When you start with those colleagues, you will come to get an understanding or a perspective of who is who and how do they act, or who you should stay away from or not. It's just like how when you're in secondary school or university, you already know who is that lecturer that, okay, this guy is a calm guy, or this guy is a, for lack of better, this is the soji guy amongst them. So you can go and be cool with them. Then the other ones that that they're strict and they're disciplinarians. So when you're going around them, you have to compose yourself. And it's just like my colleague, Madam Tega, said earlier, until you're in a position of when you need something from somebody, or in a position of you're speaking to someone with authority, you wouldn't realize how you need to compose yourself and put yourself together. So if if you understand that these are the interactions that you need to make with someone, and also set boundaries, interact, maintain the boundaries, stay and put in as much effort and consistency as you can towards this. Make sure you're as jovial and as friendly as you can as well. And most importantly, make yourself feel relatable. Then after that, you'll see everything starts to align, because it's not a journey of one day. It's a trial and error, which is why I started by saying it's not easy to break your shell. It's not easy to even start to communicate. But once you start being seen, what you need to do is then capitalize on that momentum. You don't slow it down. You understand? And you need to make sure that, once again, you tell yourself what you want, you strategize, you make sure you want to achieve it. And once you're in control, nobody can stop you from achieving what you want to do. It's just like how Rema popularly said, you cannot stop somebody who sabi jump fence. So if you have an obstacle and you know how to jump that fence, look at it straight on and scale it. I think that's my answer for this.
You know what? I wanted to add something to what I said earlier. An example. There were two brothers who, one of them has a very short temper and is constantly, expressing his anger in very aggressive manners. And then one day, both of them went somewhere, and then they saw two soldiers. You know how soldiers are in Nigeria. And then when he got there, he said his brother told him, "Come with me. Some people are stressing me." So when he got there, he saw that there were soldiers that were stressing his brother. When he got there, when he was done, he said, he looked at me and said, "Tega, I did not know that I had it in me to be a mediator." I started to mediate. I started telling everybody, calm down, because he realized that when he saw that there were soldiers with whips, he knew that his body was about to be designed like a zebra. He immediately had negotiation skills, mediation skills. I was telling everybody, calm down, we don't need to fight. You will not realize how much you can actually manage your emotions until you are in the place where you need to manage your emotions.
I think you guys are still muted. We can't hear you.
Yeah, because we can't hear you guys.
I hear you. Still can't hear you. Also, Madam Tega, thank you very much for that input. Very good example, because I feel like it capitalizes more on what I was saying in terms of
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
Everyone has it in them, and you need to make it a point to give yourself that reason to make it come out every day.
Absolutely.
You can't always just wait and expect for it to be that one time or that. Because like now, I'll give you an example. Ever since I started my job, one thing that I forced myself to start, especially because I know that I'm younger, is that no matter what the situation is in the office, no matter what anyone does to me, in my office, I'm at the rank of a deputy director. But even
Okay.
junior staff, I play with them, I joke with them. But one thing that nobody can ever do to me is upset me, and I'll make it show. Because I'll never let you see that side. Once that side shows, everyone is already expecting to see a side of you. Everyone is waiting for you to make a mistake so that they can just term you and join you.
They will
Because
immediately tag you.
yeah,
Yes.
unfortunately, in the society we live in, you may have all the good qualities, but there are two flaws with the society we live in. One, no matter how good you are, society only judges you on what you have in paper. That will always be the precipice. So you must always make sure that you keep your records clean and you try as best to make them as good as they can. And number
Wow.
two, people are always waiting for your downfall or for them to see your mistakes, because the moment they see that negative emotion, that is what they will tag you for, that's what they will know you for, and that's all they're waiting for to see again or capitalize. And that's why I said, do not allow yourself to get angry in the office, because the moment they know what they can use to weaken
You'll
you
take
or get you,
advantage of it.
exactly, you're in
And
trouble.
then I always look at it like you can't control me. I'm not a puppet. That's when you do this, I'll now listen to you and start behaving the way you know. I will not let you do that.
Which is why I said it's important in whatever type of relationship you're building, whether professional or personal, you must
Yeah.
set those boundaries, because at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, a relationship is a two-way stream. Two people are coming together to work and balance and create a partnership of mutual benefits. It
From
cannot
two
be a
different
one.
backgrounds.
Thank you. It cannot be a one person thing. And even though it cannot be a one person thing, it doesn't mean that there will not be days where if one person is down, the other won't have to uplift each other. But however, you should never put yourself in a position, whether personal or workplace, in which you allow someone to take advantage of you. I mean, it will only negatively impact you. So
Awesome. Thank you.
let's see if we have them back now. And once again, we still can't hear. No.
Okay.
We could hear them when they came back in. We could hear them actually.
We heard you when you came in temporarily, but
Yes.
you've lost voice now. I wanted to tell you.
Okay, it's very faint, but yes, you're back on.
Okay, so sorry, we can hear you now. Okay. It's faint actually. We can hear you, but it's faint. Okay, while you try to fix that, I wanted to chime in to say it's good to pay attention to your mental health. We don't pay attention to, I mean, I worked in development, I still work in development, and the work pressure is crazy. So I can tell that. But one thing I realized is because I work across different time zones, and I'm sure that Bidemi can speak to this. You will find that this thing is there are regional differences in it when you talk about work-life balance, and why am I saying this? I'm saying this because the person in context who asked that question may have reached a threshold. So There are thresholds for emotional management. I think it's important for every one of us to know that when you get to your threshold, rather than have an outburst, you already begin to look out, or you have a transition plan out of that place, right? So you find that the things that we do to ourselves, even as Nigerians, our colleagues who are outside of the country, if you see the out of office is out of office, so it's not out of office that you'll be checking your phone email and all of those things. It's out of office until so date. You can't reach me. So that pressure, the kind of pressure we face in Nigeria, is quite intense from bosses, from work itself, that if you don't pay attention to your mental health, it has a lot of impact. I mean, once you start clocking 45, 50, you start seeing some of these things. So it's good to be mindful of these things at the start of your career, so that you are not just working anywhere. Especially if you know your onions and you have value, you have very strong value that you're adding to the organization. Please choose where you work, including who you work with. At this point in my life, I won't change a job without doing a background check about who my supervisor is. It's not possible.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense. You understand? So these things are very, very important, just for the person who asked that question. Over.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Akinola. Thank you for your patience and amazing facilitators. Thank you so much. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. I think all the conversations we've been having and responses to the previous questions ties down to this next question, who is for Coach Tega. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear us?
Okay. Yep. So the question says, how can you effectively leverage on emotional intelligence to use feedback as a channel to turn my weakness to opportunities?
Okay. So we had already talked about how feedback can be constructive, and even though sometimes it can appear as being criticism, especially in, like they say, everything is state dependent. It depends on the state you even are in when the person is giving you the feedback. If you are not in a good state of you, if you're in an emotional state that is negative, you might take it that the person is attacking you. However, the most important thing to do is ask yourself that self-reflection. Ask yourself the salient questions. Is there something that I really need to change? Is this true about me? Is there something I need to change? And then you can also take feedback from more than one person. I had said earlier that when a person comes to you and gives you feedback, you might think that the person is attacking you. But if you ask more than one person, you might be able to understand that this might be a pattern with me. And that's why journaling is also good, because if you journal, you will also see that, oh, these are actually my patterns. And I used the example of myself on how I was told that this is what I do. I don't, close doors. So it was in every area of my life that I could relate it to. So instead of me to have, responded very harshly and say, why you attacking me that I don't close doors? I simply started to look at my patterns, even though I did that in the beginning. But I started to look at my patterns. Do I really not close doors? And your patterns will never lie to you. It is buried in your subconscious. So you will begin to see that this is what it is you're doing. And then you make the necessary adjustments. It might be difficult because change is uncomfortable. However, you are actually building a new neural pathway in your head, in your brain, for you to start doing things differently. So that's what I'll say. If anybody has any other answer, that'll work.
Thank you so much, Coach. We really don't have so much time, but we have two more questions, and then we'll bring this session to a close. I'll direct the first question to Mr. Aki. The second question came out of NB's session, and it's a table shaker. So I'll leave that until the end. That will be the last question. But Mr. Aki, for you, in this era of information overload, how can we distill the information that is relevant for career acceleration? There's so much everywhere. AI, Google, name it. I even came across a new email, a new website yesterday during Mr. Lala's session, howstuffworks.com. I'm like, what is this one again? So there's so much information everywhere. How can I distill the information that is relevant and bespoke and peculiar to me to help me accelerate my career journey? Can you please help with that very quickly, sir?
Okay, so I would give like a use case, for instance, in politics. So in politics, for instance, when you have political debate and people just mine data from the internet, and you have different variations in the kind of data and information that they churn out, you have what you call fact-checking websites, right? So fact-checking is now becoming an emerging field in election management, right? However, that being said, generally, I think that it is important that you govern where you go to source information, because that is the disincentive for being curious and getting the wrong information. You don't want your curiosity to be met with misinformation, and you don't want to act on that. So, for instance, for research or academics, for instance, you have plagiarism checks that helps you. That's actually the reason why you do references, to know what the authenticity of this place where you source your document and your data, to know whether the methodology was right and all of that. So I think we can self-govern ourselves to determine where we go to. There are other ethical governance structure that also the Ministry of Digital Economy and Information Management, I think is Minister of ICT and Digital Economy, that MDA is actually trying to manage from a regulatory point of view. So yes, at some point, of course, you know that there are extremes of it. So all of those questions of social norm, clog on social norm and all of that can be the extreme of it. But yes, they are developing a governance framework around information management at that level, right? So I'm aware of, because we do some work with them.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much once again for sharing your perspective generously. And finally, for this morning's panel session, I would like to ask this question. MB, thank God you are back and you have enabled your video. You ended your session with a very, very combustible, how will I even put it now? A statement that, you know, is capable of being understood differently, but I understood perfectly what you were saying. And I'd like to just throw this as an open house question. MB, to you first, and if any of our facilitators also have perspective to share. One of our speakers, one of our participants online asked this question. He said, by experience, I have noticed that women are bad line managers. So sorry to say, compared to men. Emotions and lack empathy, and they always take women over when they are in difficult situations. Can you please discuss with the aid of a diagram?
Well,
yes.
I would firstly like to start by saying it sounds like this the person that asked this question might either be a youth like me who is unmarried. No, a youth like me that is unmarried, or probably somebody whose experience with managing and working with women can require a little bit more patience. And why do I say that? If you say working with women, they are emotional and they prefer taking their side, I would say you're quick to, first of all, rush and judge to a conclusion,
Generalizing,
and you haven't assessed the situation with an open mind. And what do I mean by that? Both genders, both whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, there are days that emotion will take over. So I won't necessarily say it's a gender issue. And whether dealing with your fellow man or dealing with your fellow woman, if you see, if you understand how to manage people and how to compose yourself and put yourself in a respectable manner, just like I said earlier, be emotionally intelligent. And I feel like you would be able to assess any situation and control it as need be. And why would I would disagree with what you say about them being bad line managers. Because what do I say? Why would I say that? I feel like that also reflects on you as a person. Because if you really and truly do have proper leadership skills, if you see someone is lacking in areas of development, you shouldn't be, you should never be quick to discard anybody regardless of anything. When you can try to teach and put as much impact as you can, give as much as you can. But like I said earlier, also set boundaries. Where you see it cannot work, channel your energy towards finding where it can. But don't allow yourself to get caught up in sprues of things like emotions, or allow yourself to get over issues that don't even matter. I think that would be my honest opinion on the matter. So I do disagree. Sorry, with the person who asked the question on saying that working with them is bad because of emotions. I feel maybe we should all collectively come together to work on ourselves, first of all, and then our interactions with other people. I think that's my answer. I don't know
Okay,
if any.
sometimes I think that we generalize quite a bit. Maybe that has happened with one or two people, and then you now think that it's every woman that is like that. That is one. And then two, sometimes also maybe it has happened to you once, and then you now think that, oh, you start to project that. And most times what we give out is what we get. The vibes you give out is what you get. When you come in with an attitude, oh, maybe you're a man, you make the woman feel like, well, I've worked with a female line manager that was really this, that was really that, and I'm not going to take this from you. When you start to do that, everybody gets defensive, and once they get defensive, you see their fans. So
you can never achieve anything when everybody is defensive, and that's why I said you have to learn to interact with people and learn how to control the situation.
Absolutely.
And like I said, learn to give, because in Nigeria we also have this habit of, when speaking with someone, we're already speaking down on them, or we're looking down, or sometimes you even say something and we don't realize how even our tone matters. So of course, if you speak to someone in a tone that they feel guided of, and it goes back to my earlier statement, already in the workplace, women feel like they're being made inferior, or they're being made
we always feel like we need to match up energy to be at par. We always feel like
so
we're already disadvantaged.
and also it's a big question of how you maintain relationships and you manage relationships and you engage with people, which was why my earlier statement I said it's either this person is probably not married, because anybody that has a wife at home also might not be married. But anybody who has a wife at home, who has many sisters, any of these, you wouldn't even ask this question before. You would have learned how to cultivate and effectively manage these things.
Okay, I just to give an angle to it. I know we are pressed for time, so these things they are very context specific.
Yes.
And you don't just generalize their individual traits, attributes, and skills.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Would be very admirable in that person that you talk about. And I dare say, I mean, I've worked, my current boss, my current CEO, I've worked with, she's a woman, I've worked with her for 8 years. I don't do that just for anybody. And I can be very mobile if I choose to. So she obviously has some sterling qualities that has kept me with her for upward of 8 years. And she's a woman. So don't generalize. The other thing I'm going to say in closing is focus on the strengths of the person. Focus on the strength of the person till it drowns out the weakness. It won't matter. The weakness won't matter if you train yourself to be able to be tolerant and permissive of the weakness, except they are life-threatening weakness, right? Because they can be GBV is life-threatening weakness. I won't say you should stay with a wife beater for this. If they are not life-threatening, everybody has got to, everybody has got to be tolerant at some point. And just to say this and put this out.
Oh no!
I'm sure you're back. There's something else I thought of. A bad day doesn't mean a bad life. Sometimes one day we just have, this is what happened today. Then next thing you just be like, you don't know what the person's gone through. We judge people based on their actions, but we judge ourselves based on our intentions. You never know what the person has been through, what the person is going through, and then we just be like, that's how they are. All of them have emotional problems. Like they say, sometimes every woman is 4 different women in a month. As Coach Folake, she will make it up.
Actually, I agree. I totally agree. Wow.
All right. Shout out to all the amazing women that we have on the call. MB, you were saying?
I think I would just like to wrap up by just leaving this and saying that, and capitalizing on what Mr. Akinwunmi was saying, is that we should be at a point where we are all open-minded, progressive, and developed in our thinking enough to realize that we are now in an age and time where, regardless of gender, regardless of tribe, regardless of religion, what we should be looking towards should be nothing other than the positive qualities and the strengths that which would either build on you or you can capitalize on. One thing that we need to take away and we need to put in our minds is that at the end of the day, we all need to come together to provide. The goal is the collective growth, not the individual. As an individual, all we can do is only provide our own individual contributions to the greater goal and the own greater development. But if we come together and we put our heads together and we leave all of these things, such as titles, gender, religion, and because in the gross picture they don't matter. Put them together, work on our head. At the end of the day, all we would have is just a better life and a better nation to capitalize on. There'll be better benefits for everybody to sprue from, instead of thinking about little things like this that matter. If you're blessed to be in a position where you are around amazing women that you can work with and you can develop yourself with, that is fine. As a lady, if you are in a position where you are able to work with an amazing man and you're able to get your development, alhamdulillah. At the end of the day, all we need to focus on is just focus on, like I said earlier, focus on our mentality and focus on our faith. And inshallah, if you hold those two things together, God will open all doors for you, and everywhere you walk into, you'll be noticed. You'll be noticed, and people will gravitate and levitate towards you, and they want to be with you. But most importantly, keep God by your side. That's all we need to know. So that's all I have to say for the rest of the conversation.
Thank you so much, MB. We say amen to that. Thank you so much. We're grateful. Thank you so much. Shout out to all the amazing, beautiful women we have on this call. Shout out to all the amazing men that we have on the call. Thank you so much to everyone, specifically also to our panelists and our facilitators for sharing your wealth of knowledge and experience with us. We cannot thank you enough. We're truly grateful. We've learned so much. We're taking this back, and we promise to put them to good use. Thank you so much, everyone joining us from across the world. We look forward to having you join us again at 5 p.m. West African time tonight for the closing session of the Career Acceleration Summit 2024. You don't want to miss it for anything. It is often said that if you think the beginning was amazing, watch out for the closing ceremony. You haven't seen anything like it. Make sure you bring someone else into the room tonight. Tell someone to bring someone, and let us all connect, learn, grow, and thrive together. My name is Israel Olumayo Aljuade, and I'm signing out. With me here once again is... We've had a beautiful experience bringing you this session of the Career Acceleration Summit and moderating the morning session. We look forward to having you online and on site with us. If you can join us in the studio later this evening for the fantastic and the closing ceremony of the Career Acceleration Summit. Mona, our third moderator, will be joining us from the beautiful city of Vancouver. So you don't want to miss that edition. We look forward to seeing you. So from us at the Career Acceleration Summit, from the beautiful city of Abuja, Nigeria, we're signing out. And from all of us, we say thank you for joining. God bless you, and see you again later this evening.
Who am I? Who is Titi? I am the Executive Director and CEO at A+ Trainers Limited, the team lead. I'm a Certified Project Management Professional, PMP. I'm a licensed National Business Development Services provider. I'm an accredited management consultant and trainer. I'm an export coach for those that know me. I've been in this sector also for some time, international trade, and I've supported SMEs through training and coaching to get them to become experts. And of course, I am a distinguished a public speaker, a communications coach as well. You can read more. That I manifest at this level, I dreamt it.
Many of us have businesses. We are using our personal salary to fund it, or we are using from our husband to fund it. Could John now?
So when the TOT program started, one of the things that I thought I was going to come to do was support my sister and my friend because she's doing a program. And then I also thought that I was going to learn something that she had given me practical feedback from a previous training that I had facilitated for her. But when I got in, I was the one that was supported. I was very, very supported. It was an amazing learning experience from Coach Folake through Pastor Benga to Dr. Naomi. I learned stuff that I would take with me forever. I'm glad I got in because what I needed to go from being a good trainer, who I always said I was, to being a great trainer was the TOT program. And that is what I'm recommending for you also. One of the things that I learned was how to use minimal time to send a message. I did a presentation with 8 slides only, and I touched every key area. I didn't have to do 100 slides, and I didn't have to have 100 hours. It was a beautiful skill to learn. Another thing that I loved was when Coach Folake spoke about how your trainings are supposed to help the people you're training cause a shift in behavioral modification and attitudinal change. If there is no change after you have passed your training, then you haven't actually trained the people. That blew my mind. I was really blown away. Listen, you should get the recording for the first cohort. And then when the next one comes up, you should get in the room. And I promise you, you will thank me later. What you need to go from being a good trainer to being a great trainer is the TOT program. That is the bridge that you need to get to where you're going.